Good morning. If I can have everyone's attention, please. We are going to begin our council session today with a special celebration.
¡Ay, qué linda! ¡Qué rechula es la fiesta de mi rancho! Con sus chinas, mariachis y canciones. Y esos charros que traen sombrero ancho. ¡Qué bonita! Esa yegua era sana y pajarera. Va a enseñarles a echar una mangana y montarla y quitarle lo madrera. Que rechula es la fiesta del Bajío. Ay, qué linda sus hembras y su sol. Rinconcito que guarde el amor mío. Ay, mi vida, tuyo es mi corazón. ¡Esas palmas! ¡Eso! Cuando valedores a darse un buen quemón, que esa yegua que viene del potrero solo es buena para el fierro del batirón. Las mujeres de ser como todas las puteras incas, que se engrían y se amantan con su dueño, y no saben llevar genes de ananga. Que rechula es la fiesta del Bajío. Ay, qué linda sus hembras y su sol. Rinconcito que guarda el amor mío.
The chair is proud to recognize Mayor Hahn, City Attorney Rocky Delgadillo, our Council President, Mr. Padilla, along with Councilmember Pacheco, Garcetti, and Councilmember Reyes.
Buenos días.
Buenos días.
Wasn't Allison and Mariachi Latino, weren't they wonderful today? Allison, thank you. Muchísimas gracias. Thank you, Councilmember Mizikowski, Council President Padilla, City Attorney Rocky Delgadillo, members of the City Council. It's my pleasure to proclaim Latino Heritage Month, and I might read a portion of the resolution. And whereas el pueblo de Nuestra Señora la Reina de Los Ángeles de Porciuncula was founded in 1781 by pioneering and entrepreneuring Hispanic settlers, considerando que el pueblo de Nuestra Señora la Reina de Los Ángeles de Porciuncula fue fundado en 1781 por pioneros y empresarios colonos hispanos, Y whereas 46% of the city's population, and I think it's closer to 50 now if the Census Department had done their job, is comprised of Latinos who are continuously bringing a rich historical tradition to the city based upon the significant contributions made by Latino forebears, and considerando que 46% de la población de nuestra ciudad está compuesta por latinos, quienes continuamente contribuyen a la rica tradición histórica de la ciudad de Los Ángeles basada en las contribuciones hechas por sus antepasados latinos. And whereas the influences brought by a diversity of Latinos continues to prosper and make an undying force in our city, considerando que las influencias traídas por la diversidad de los latinos continúa prosperando y haciendo una fuerza imperecedera en esta ciudad. Now, therefore, I, James Hahn, Mayor of the City of Los Angeles, on behalf of its residents, do hereby proclaim the month of September 15th to October 15th as Latino Heritage Month. Ahora, por lo tanto, yo, James Hahn, alcalde de la ciudad de Los Ángeles, en nombre de sus residentes, a través de la presente declaro el mes de 15 de septiembre al 15 de octubre 2002 como el mes de la herencia latina. Thank you. Would you hold this with me? Look at the camera.
Good job.
Now I'd like to introduce the father of one of the most successful Latina artists of this decade, Jennifer Lopez. This year, Jennifer Lopez agreed to be co-chair of Latino Heritage Month in Los Angeles to show her commitment to her gente. She agreed to participate as honorary chair. Unfortunately, due to her busy schedule, she was unable to join us today, but her father, David Lopez, is here on her behalf. Mr. Lopez?
Hi, I'm David Lopez. I'm Jennifer Lopez's father, and I feel honored to be standing with you here today to express my daughter's commitment that this year's Latino Heritage Month should be a great success. Although Jennifer couldn't be here, her heart is with all the Angelinos and Mayor Hahn as she welcomes you to commemorate the great accomplishments of all Latinos to this great city. And also, this city has been her home for the past several years, so she feels very close to it. Also, she wants me to tell you that it's an honor for her to accept the post of honorary chair, and wish to thank Mayor Hahn and his fine staff. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Lopez.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Also want to acknowledge the significant contributions of two of our sponsors for Latino Heritage Month, the gas company and Wells Fargo. I want to commend them for their dedication to the Latino community. So to show our appreciation, we have a certificate for Mr. Joseph Rivera, representing the gas company, Sempra Energy Utility. Thank you, Mr. Rivera.
Thank you.
And representing Wells Fargo, Mrs. Miriam Galicia Duarte. Thank you, Wells Fargo, for being a sponsor. I also want to take this opportunity to invite all of you to participate in as many events as you can in Latino Heritage Month, from our student photo exhibit at the Perfect Exposure Gallery, the celebrity softball game, benefiting Salesian Boys and Girls Club at USC, and our day-long family celebration, Fiesta en el Valle. We want you to have an opportunity to appreciate Latino heritage. And for more information, please visit the city's website, www.latinoslacity.org. And I hope you'll all join us in the Rotunda reception in honor of Latino Heritage Month. Also appreciate that New California Media is here representing all of our different great media organizations in Los Angeles, and I'm also going to be thanking them later on as we proclaim this also New California Media Day. Thank you very much. We want to look forward to a great Latino Heritage Month. I know our city attorney and Council President Padilla and other council members are here as well. Thank you.
Buenos días and muchas gracias, Mayor Han, alcalde de Los Angeles. It certainly is a pleasure to welcome all of you to this great celebration. You know, I think this is the first time in, at least since we were Mexico, that you've had this many representatives of Latino descent here in the city of Los Angeles. I'm proud to be the first Latino city attorney. I'm proud to be the first Latino elected to citywide office in over 100 years, and I'm proud to be with our leadership here in the city of Los Angeles. I believe that one of the greatest resources of our city is this rich cultural and historic diversity in our neighborhoods and communities. That is why these events are so important, not only to remind us of our history, but to bring us together as a community united by an enduring culture and common destiny. I think it is fitting that we set aside a month to celebrate centuries of achievement. Today and every day, we should be proud of our heritage. Hoy y cada día debemos ser orgullosos de nuestra herencia. Thank you very much.
Felicidades a todos por este mes de celebración de nuestra cultura. Ayer tuve la oportunidad de compartir con los concejales de Centroamérica, todos los países que hablan español. Y cuando vemos que en esta ciudad somos la capital de gente que habla español, tenemos que estar orgullosos de estas riquezas. I just want to say that yesterday I had the privilege of celebrating 181 years anniversary of independence for the Central American countries, and had representatives from South America. And it's with great pride to know that Los Angeles is the capital of the Spanish-speaking community, when we realize that the Western Hemisphere consists of people who mainly speak Spanish. But just as important, in this city, for 300 years before it became Los Angeles, Spanish was spoken here. So it's great to see this evolution of people, this diversity of cultures, and it's going to speak to the strengths of this capital of the Western Hemisphere we call Los Angeles. Felicidades, and let's enjoy a great month of Latino heritage. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone, colleagues, Madam President. I just wanted to echo the words that Ed Reyes just said about how proud we are to serve here in the city of Los Angeles. And I think the four of us on the council, and including City Attorney Rocky Delgadillo, as part of this new generation of Latino leadership, I just want to highlight the fact that I'm really proud of the fact that we have in Ed Reyes an urban planner, and Eric Garcetti, a college professor, and Alex Padilla, an engineer, Rocky Delgadillo, a business lawyer, and then myself, a former prosecutor, that we have really moved and raised the standard for a Latino representation here in the city of Los Angeles. And I just thought it's appropriate to note that we are part of mainstream Los Angeles and the state, yet at the same time, we're very proud of our heritage. I believe that oftentimes we are asked, what does it mean to be a Latino in the city council? And what I tell them, what I tell everyone, is that every family in the city of Los Angeles expects the same things from us. Safe streets, the delivery of city services, and most importantly, that we care about what's going on in the neighborhoods, and it doesn't really matter what ethnic group you come from. We all have the commitment to deliver that, and that's our commitment to this city. Quiero agradecer a todos que van a participar en todas las festividades de nuestra mes de gerencia latina, pero también les quiero invitar a este fin de semana, el domingo, tenemos el grito. Cada año celebramos el grito aquí en la ciudad de Los Ángeles. Este año va a ser aquí en la calle Spring, empezando a las 6, empieza las festividades, y también ustedes conocen que es una celebración que estamos cooperando y juntos celebramos con el DF, el capital de México, con el presidente de México. I just want to invite everyone to El Grito this Sunday. I just want you to know that one of the unique things about this celebration in the city of Los Angeles, I believe it's one of the first, if not the only, simulcast international event where we, in conjunction with the Mexican government and President Fox, celebrate this event. While they are doing their El Grito celebration in the capital, Mexico City, our audience here via satellite views those festivities. And then over there in Mexico City, their audience is told to wait and participate in our celebration. So we then flip the switch and we air live our El Grito celebration, and that audience in Mexico City enjoys our festivities. I believe it's the only international event that the city participates. It's been around for quite a number of years, and I invite you all to participate in that and come out to all the festivities this weekend at Olvera Street in celebrating Mexican Independence Day and all the great things that we're doing this month. Thank you.
Muy buenos días. Very good morning to everybody. A mis compañeros en el consejo, to my colleagues and buddies in the council. It's wonderful to be able to celebrate all of us together. And thank you to Mr. Lopez for being here. I know Jennifer couldn't be here today, but I know that Councilmember Pacheco has promised to do some of her Fly Girl routines from In Living Color, so we'll be seeing that in a little bit. It's a real joy to be able to celebrate today Latino Heritage Month for all of us. I think this has been a Latino city from its founding, and in saying that, it looks like all the faces in this room. We know that founding myth of the Los Pobladores, but the white, black, Asian faces from 221 years ago were all Latino, and that's really what that category of Latino means. It's a category of folks who have always celebrated a culture, a common heritage, a common language, but who have looked like the entire world. And all of us that are here have celebrate that commingling of cultures, and that's what we celebrate. This is not just a celebration of symbols, though, and of history, but of progress in this past year. And I want to thank this council and the mayor for some of the advances this past year, whether it's the Cesar Chavez holiday recognition, the matricula consular legislation that we passed, and some of the other things that really make a difference to all Angelinos, but especially to Latinos. No solamente es una celebración de símbolos, sino de legislación, de progreso, la legislación de matrículas consulares y también de la fiesta, el día de Cesar Chavez. Muchísimas gracias por su ayuda con estas cosas. Thank you for your help with these things. We look forward to celebrating. I invite you all out to Hollywood. We have a few events celebrating the contribution of Latinos in Hollywood and film and popular culture. For the new Frida Kahlo movie, we're going to be having something at the Egyptian Theater with Selma Hayek, so we hope that everybody can come out. But please log on to that website, and we invite all Angelinos to celebrate our common heritage. And we promise to get some Latinas up here as well soon, too, so it's not just some men. Thank you.
Fellow colleagues and members of the public, it gives us really a lot of pride and joy to kick off this Latino Heritage Month series of events and activities. This last week, we also paid commemoration to one of the most tragic incidents in our country's history, the attacks in this country of September 11th. And I mention that because for the course of the last year and 2 days now, the incident of September 11th and the emotions that it brings about has brought deeper meaning to so many other things that are part of our lives, from the love of our families to baseball games, the national pastime, to what it really means to be an American. And as we celebrate Latino Heritage Month, as you know, in other weeks and other months throughout the course of the year, we celebrate different ethnic groups, different groups of various backgrounds from around the country that have converged here upon Los Angeles. What we're also celebrating is how the Latino community has contributed to life in Los Angeles and life in the United States. Not to be separate, but be part of. And to steal one of the lines from a friend down in the South Bay, I think it's encapsulated by the phrase that, yes, it is possible to have tortillas with dinner and have apple pie for dessert. We're proud to be Latinos and we're proud to be Americans. And when people think of the Latino community, often is the case, and for many people it is accurate. We think of immigrants and sons and daughters of immigrants. But when we think of the Latino community, it's also very appropriate to think of the Latino community as a community that has been part of this city and part of this country for generations and generations and generations. And as the previous speakers have said, and I think our council historian Tom LaBonge will acknowledge, the Latino community has been part of Los Angeles since its inception, not just as part of the Pobladores in 1781, but City Hall, the address to City Hall is on Spring Street. At one point in time, Spring Street was La Calle Primavera. A lot of the streets, a lot of the communities they were recognized in Los Angeles had their Spanish names through the course of history. So there are certainly many activities, many ceremonies, many opportunities for people to participate in Latino Heritage Month. We hope that you all choose 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, if not all of them, to join in the celebration, to learn a little, to share a little, and to experience a little with your fellow Angelinos. Thank you very much for the celebration. I want to also thank Allison for opening up the ceremony. In such a great fashion, I have to admit my nephew is disappointed. Allison is 10, he's only 9. But maybe he'll catch up. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President, and Mr. Mayor, Mr. City Attorney, and all the distinguished leaders for this presentation. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Brinson, Galanter, Garcetti, Gruel, Hahn, Holden, Labange, Miskowski, Pacheco, Perry, Reyes, Worthy, Thomas, Weisstein, Padilla, 13 members present, and a quorum, Madam
All right.
President.
The quorum is present. The council is in session. I think we're going to have a processional. I'm sorry, Ms. Hahn?
Thank you. Buenos días, mi hermano.
Buenos días, mi hermano.
Y mi amigos. And while we are certainly happy to celebrate Latino Heritage Month, I do want to say to Allison, girls rule. And I want to say that I'm particularly pleased at the events that we'll be having in Los Angeles. Of course, the Latinos in Hollywood exhibit, which will be at the Egyptian Theater. And what's important about that is, even though it's in Hollywood, we're going to be busing our young people from all over the city. There's going to be 150 coming from my district to participate in a reception on the 28th there. And then the exhibit, I'm very pleased to announce, the exhibit will come all the way down to San Pedro and be in the Cabrillo Beach Bathhouse from October 23rd, from November 23rd to October 26th. So we're thrilled that it's coming down to the Cabrillo Beach Bathhouse down in San Pedro. It's going to be a great celebration and festival for our entire city. Thank you, and look forward to hearing Allison again.
Thank you, Ms. Hahn. Mr. Labange, did you have?
I just wanted to say one thing. Thank you very much, Mayor, for coming in, and our City Attorney and Mr. President members. And in our great archives in the City of Los Angeles, which are stored in a very special room at Piper Tech, there are some of the first minutes of this City Council. And in those minutes, they're written in Spanish. It's a great heritage, a great linkage. It's wonderful. And what I also love about this month is we celebrate, in that great poster that often is used to proclaim Latino Heritage Month, is the great 6th Street Bridge that really binds people together. Wonderful presentations for everybody, and it's going to be a great month. Congratulations to the mayor and everybody and all the council and the community for going to the great heritage of our community, Los Angeles. Thank you.
I recognize Councilmember Gruhl.
Want to briefly say as well that this is quite an opportunity. Latino Heritage Month is a way in which we can celebrate our diversity of Los Angeles and add to Councilwoman Hahn's comments about Girls Rue and Allison. We're looking forward to supporting you. You're quite amazing. But I think this is
Thank you.
You're welcome. And we're looking. It sounds like you're going to sing again, so I'm looking forward to that. This is an opportunity for all of us in Los Angeles to participate in events, meet our neighbors and the community. And I'm pleased that we were able today to acknowledge so many of the individuals who are role models. And we're looking forward to having the first Latino on the City Council. So thank you so much. And I think, hopefully, no further ado, we're going to get to hear from our young lady and the others. She's what? She's singing at El Grito, too. So those of you that enjoyed that on Sunday to El Grito. And what time is the El Grito event on Sunday?
She's singing at 9, right? I'm singing at 9.
She's singing at 9 p.m.? Not past your bedtime at 9, I guess. Okay. All right. Thank you very much, Ken.
Thank you.
Also helping us celebrate Latino Heritage Month, I'd like to call forward Roberto Lovato representing New California Media, which is really contributing to the rising vitality and visibility of multi-ethnic media of Los Angeles, all the different publications that represent all the wonderful cultures of Los Angeles. We thought that couldn't be a better time than as we open Latino Heritage Month to also thank New California Media for being part of this day today. Would you all come forward from New California Media? Roberto?
Thank you, Mayor Hahn. Jeez.
That's very good.
Hi, my name is Roberto Lovato. I'm representing New California Media, which is the largest single network of ethnic media in the country. We represent approximately 400 different media outlets, from what used to be considered ethnic media, which is mom and pop newspapers, to major corporations with very large audiences that help make actually a lot of our elected officials' lives possible these days, increasingly in places like LA. And we're happy to be joining to Hispanic Heritage Month and celebrating New California Media. What I want to do is actually let the people that make it happen just say a little bit to you about what it is they do and how they do it, because I facilitate their work, and very briefly.
Good morning, Mr. Mayor, City Council members. How are you? My name is Jonathan Sanchez. I represent Eastern Group Publications. Actually, I'm one of the owners. My wife and I own this chain of newspapers. I'm proud of being a member of the New California Media. And what is it that we do? I think that the job we do of covering our communities, Hispanic communities in both languages, English and Spanish, we do very well, considering our limitations sometimes because of the resources in terms of advertising. We're very happy to be here. We're grateful to have been invited, and we hope and invite everybody to join all of us in celebrating Hispanic heritage. Thank you very much.
Thank you. As we continue again, there will be a reception out in the rotunda as we continue to celebrate Latino Heritage Month following City Council. Hope all of you will join us. Thank you. Did you have another slide?
Tiempo pasa y no te puedo olvidar. noches sin ti agrandan mi soledad. A veces estás a punto de irte a buscar. Dime qué cosa me hiciste que no te puedo olvidar. Si viajero, yo como te recuerdo en mis locos desvelos, le pido a Dios que vuelva. Si viajeras, yo como te recuerdo será porque aún te quiero. Espero que tú escuches esta canción. Donde quiera que te encuentres, espero que tú al escucharlas te acuerdes de mí como me acuerdo de ti. Gracias.
Speaker. Chair recognizes Councilmember Padilla.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Members of the council, members of the public, in continuing with this Latino Heritage Month kickoff celebration, it gives me great pleasure to make the following presentation to Ballet Folclórico del Pacífico. If they can come forward, they're already behind me. Come forward. And to point out a familiar face, Felipe Chavez from the CLA's office, who is a member of the group. We're congratulating them on their 10th anniversary. Just this last August, they celebrated their decade of existence. The group has grown over those 10 years to 40 dancers and musicians, and has really set a great example to other folklorico groups and organizations throughout Los Angeles and throughout the Southwest by not only being performers, but really making a commitment to the community to pass on the traditions, to take on educational outreach components, and it's really been driven by their two leaders, their general director, Adriana Gainey, and their artistic director, Jose Vences, who takes the group to events, to celebrations, to schools, and community groups throughout. Many of the locations they've had the honor to perform in include the San Gabriel Civic Auditorium, the Universal Amphitheater, the Pasadena Civic Auditorium, the Skirball Center, as well as the Dorothy Chandler Pavilion, and many, many more. I want to present them this resolution on behalf of the city, on behalf of the council, and read the resolved clause. By adoption of this resolution, the City Council of the City of Los Angeles hereby congratulates and commends the Ballet Folclórico del Pacífico on its 10th year anniversary and for outstanding service and commitment to the residents of the City of Los Angeles. Congratulations and best wishes for continued success. I want to present this to you. And before we ask you to say a few words, I'll call everybody's attention to the monitors. I believe we have a video queued up.
ojos de papel volando, a todos diles que sí, pero no les digas cuando así me dijiste a mí, por eso vivo esperando.
Good morning and thank you. The excerpt you just saw was last year's performance at the John Anson Ford Amphitheater. On behalf of Pacifico Dance Company, it is an honor to accept this award of recognition. We started this company 10 years ago to provide a means of promoting our Hispanic pride and heritage through the vehicle of music and dance. We have presented our Mexican heritage to over 1,000 school-aged children and adults in the Los Angeles community and the state of California. Most recently, we were a part of a historic invitation to North Korea and China. Along with Mariachi Sol de Mexico, we were the first folklorico company to perform there. In addition to thanking the City of Los Angeles, I would like to thank the 30-plus members for their time, commitment, and their love. For all of us, it is a labor of love. Our gratification comes from the ability to present our art to the people of the community. Thank you.
Thank you. The chair would now like to recognize Councilmember Mark Ridley Thomas for a presentation.
Madam President and members of the council, this morning I would like to recognize Joe Mazingo, an Assistant General Manager and the Executive Officer of the Information Technology Agency, who will be retiring from the City of Los Angeles after some 22 years of dedicated service. Joe Mazingo stands right here. Why don't you welcome him as he comes forward, will you? Joe began his career with the City of Los Angeles in 1980 as an electronic data processing programmer with the former Data Services Bureau, where his hard work, technical knowledge, and programming skills enabled him to rapidly advance through the ranks. He ultimately served as a senior systems specialist and information systems manager for the Data Services Bureau, the Los Angeles Fire Department, and the Information Services Department. In the capacity which afforded him most of us the greatest opportunity to work closely with Mr. Mazingo, he served from 1999 until June 2000 as a division manager and as the mayor and council liaison for the Information Technology Agency. And based on his consistently strong job performance and notable leadership abilities within the department, he was named the executive officer of the Information Technology Agency in June of 2000. Just 1 year later, in June of 2001, Joe Mazingo began as acting as the interim general manager of the agency for a 9-month period, during which time he took the helm of the agency and guided it through its transition. And while his career is filled with notable accomplishments, Joe Mazingo has defined himself in recent years with his dedication to the completion of the city's new 311 system, development of new citywide technology, project management methodologies, and fulfillment of numerous large-scale IT projects related to public safety and the city's financial systems. So I hope that you will join me in commending Joe Mazingo for his 22 years of service and outstanding contributions to the Information Technology Agency and to the City of Los Angeles. And I'm sure I speak for the entirety of the City Council when I extend my best wishes for a long and fruitful and well-earned retirement. This is presented here to you, Joe, by this resolution and the adoption of the same, that the mayor and the City Council do hereby commend you for 22 years of dedicated service and outstanding contributions to this great city, and we again wish you a long and happy retirement. Madam President, members, Joe Mazingo.
Thank you, Councilman. First off, I want to extend my appreciation to Councilman Ridley Thomas. It's been a tremendous experience over the years working closely with him in 2 occasions when he's been the chair of the ITGS committee, and I really do appreciate his support. Thank you so much. Everybody asks me, what are your plans? And I say, well, I really don't have any plans, but I have lots of interests. I hope to stay active in the city of Los Angeles in some voluntary capacity. And they say, what are you going to miss the most? Well, there's a lot to miss, believe me. But I think one of the things I've discovered in the last 4 days since I've been retired, how do you set up a computer system in your house without that great cadre of student workers that I've always had at my beck and call to help me? Now I have to learn how to do it myself. But I want to take the opportunity to thank each and every one of you that I've worked closely with over the years. It's been a tremendous honor working with you, and I do really hope to look forward to associating myself with the city of LA in the future. Thank you very much. One other thing I would like to extend my great appreciation to Jesse Waros, who surprised me this morning by being here. He was the previous general manager, the general manager I served with as the executive officer, and he was a great supporter, and I'm really honored that he came in this morning. Thank you all.
Thank you, and thank you, Councilmember Ridley Thomas. Congratulations. Chair recognizes Councilmember Ed Reyes for a presentation.
Come on. Thank you, Madam President. I'd like to ask the staff from CD1 to join me. I'd like to call up Tony Perez. Yeah, a look of shock in his face. He's absolutely startled. Council members, colleagues, folks out there, back in the early 90s, must have been 92, I was standing behind that pillar as I was holding the bucket and the towel, and my council member was in the debate. And Cecilia Stolano, who is now the city attorney, was then with Mayor Bradley. And she taps him on the shoulder and says, I need for you to meet someone. And I turn around, and it's Tony Perez. He's an intern working with media. And back then, there was a whole cater of interns who've now become council deputies, junior executives, council members. And in those 10 years, Tony and I have worked together. It's been a roller coaster. We've had many bumpy rides, but we've been able to manage to work out many of our problems, come together with solutions. And most of us know that in each one of our offices, there's a spark plug. There's somebody that cheers everybody on when you're there at 9 p.m. and the committee is still going, or the report is due, or you got to get that news release out. or council offices are doing the email battle about who won the different races. Well, bottom line, that's Tony Perez. He's our spark plug. And he's been a warrior. And it is with great pride I'd like to bestow upon him, whether he wears it or not, his 10-year pin. Yeah, 10 years, Tony. Something about time and gravity that has its effects on us. But bottom line, I want to give you, with great pride and joy, on behalf of the council, staff, and the city family, all the good work that you've been doing, and hopefully this is big enough to fit on one of your walls. Thank you, Tony. And let me ceremoniously put this 10-year pin on you. Would you like to say a few words?
No.
Oh, come on. The guy who does the speaking points has no words?
Oh, my goodness.
You sure?
I'll make this really, really brief. I'm shocked. I thought we were doing this for Ruby. Yeah, 10 years. I didn't know I was that old. But this job kind of makes you old fast, but it's been exciting, and I swear to God, I thought I was going to get fired in front of everybody. But yeah, it's been great. I really appreciate everything he's done for me. He's one of my mentors. Yeah, it's going to a lot of room on my wall for this one, because this is the only one I have. Thank you very much, Ed, and thank you to all my colleagues behind me. It's shocking, and I'm very appreciative of it. Thank you very much.
Congratulations, Tony, and thank you, Mr. Reyes. Chair now recognizes Councilmember Eric Garcetti for a presentation.
I think I'm supposed to be joined by Councilmember Weiss for this. If he is temporarily detained, maybe I'll wait to go next.
All right,
Okay,
then
thank
I
you.
think Councilmember Labange is ready for his presentation. Chair recognizes Councilmember Labange.
Hello, officers. Madam President, members of council, it's I like Fridays. I like Thursday nights, I like Fridays, but I like Fridays because so much happens here and special events happen, like today with Latino Heritage Month. But today we have a return of a great member of City Council who contributed for many, many years as the fine representative of the 3rd District. And she didn't stop after her service on the council. She got more involved in a very special there's many, many, many special things about Los Angeles, but one of the most special ones is at the top of Vermont Avenue in Griffith Park, and that's the great Griffith Observatory. And this morning, we're here to honor someone who's completing their term of 4 years on the Friends of the Observatory as the president of the Friends of the Observatory. And you could go on a clear day and see the beautiful Vincent Thomas Bridge all the way down in San Pedro, or see our great City Hall, and see out to the San Fernando Valley of the Pacific Ocean. But then when the lights dim and the night air is clear, you can see the stars that cover this universe. And Joy Pikus has been the celebrated president of the Friends of the Observatory for these years, and I wanted to salute you. And Joy, since we were last together, I've been looking not at the stars but at the sun, so my eyes aren't as good, so I got to get my cheaters on. And I want to salute you for your service at public service for the people of Los Angeles that you have been as a leadership of the Friends of the Observatory, for your great energy and spirit and advancement of the observatory and public astronomy and the science of astronomy, which is so important, and for your knowledge and wisdom of working with the city state and federal governments, which is so fortunate for us to help in the renovation and expansion of the great Griffith Observatory. You continue to make the connections, cosmic connections with friends and strangers alike by taking every opportunity to look up and point out Jupiter to the night sky. She exemplifies the exceptional spirit of the Griffith Observatory to inspire the future and one imagination at a time. And it's my honor as a member of council to salute you and join with these great other members of City Council by adoption of this resolution to recognize your stellar efforts of Joy Picus on behalf of the renewal of the great civic treasure, as Dr. Krupp calls it, the hood ornament of the city of Los Angeles, the beautiful 1935 Art Deco building, the Griffith Observatory. It's signed on this day by myself and seconded by the great council member Wendy Gruhl, attested to by our great city clerk and also our president, Alex Padilla. Let's hereby salute Joy Picus for all her work for Friends of the Observatory. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Labange. The chair would recognize Mr. Zine.
Thank you, Madam President. Councilmember Labange, that's kind words that you say, and I want to also recognize that former council member Joy Picus held the 3rd District for 16 years, dedicated that community during that long period of time. We have the Joy Picus Children's Daycare Center at City Hall East, and your activities continue with the City of Los Angeles. We appreciate that, we recognize that, and I wish you and your wonderful husband good health and best wishes as you continue to do good things for the City of Los Angeles. Thank you much, Joy.
Mr. Ridley Thomas.
Thank you.
Mr. President, members of the council, I rise to salute one of the city's best. Joy Picus warmly welcomed me 11 and a half years ago when I came to this body as her seatmate, and some of the things that I've learned and some of those for whom I've learned to look out for or watch out for came from some of the insights that Joy Picus shared. And she's a lover of culture, not only that which is scientific, but that which is artistic, particularly the performing arts. And Jerry Avis, Joy and I have had an opportunity to enjoy some of the finer things of this city, and they are doing well, and I continue to wish them well as a pioneer for children in this city, too, in terms of the child care center named in her honor. So I suspect it should be appreciated that this is one council member, Joy Picus, who has left an indelible mark in a variety of ways on the great city of Los Angeles. All the best to you, Joy.
Thank you, Mayor.
Councilmember Gruhl.
I would like to add my comments to those of my colleagues. I have known Joy Picus, I think, since I was about 19 years old, and which was just yesterday. And Joy really was one of those people who was a mentor, someone I looked up to, a role model for those of us that are on the council, in particular the women on the council. You were such an advocate for issues that I cared about when I worked for Tom Bradley on child care and recreation and parks and so many of those issues. And you really are someone that I admire and am just so proud to be associated with you and to have had your pearls of wisdom as I went through my race this year and as I legislate here in the City Council. So thank you, and I'm so glad that Tom's the smart one that to honor you today. And thank you for all that you've done for the City of Los Angeles.
Ms. Galanter.
Well, I also want to thank Joy for years of work, both on the council and since she left the council, and I want to tell you how nice it is to see a friendly face in this chamber.
Mr. Holden.
Ditto. I can say this to you, Joy, that Tom Labange is is the historian, and he keeps the records. And that even if he didn't, we know how much you've done for the observatory and for all the other projects that you worked on and that are dear to your heart. I will say one other thing, though. Unlike Ruth Gallant and myself, that you're the only one who served at the time we were serving who were not affected by the term limits. And you can run for re-election if you choose to do so. You know that, don't you?
Not planning on that. Not planning on that.
I know, but after Mr. Zine, I'm sure when he serves his 8 years and whatever, decides he wants to go up, you can run. In any case, welcome back.
Thanks, Nate. I hadn't thought about that. Okay. Members of the council and Council President Padilla, thank you so very much, and especially Tom, thank you for this unexpected honor. I didn't anticipate being back at City Hall in this position, but let me say that the nice things you've said to me this morning is music to my ears, and anytime you want to say those good things, I'll come back and I'll listen. It's really been a pleasure. But I really want to talk to you about Griffith Observatory, and I will be brief. You know, and let me also say that Tom loves Los Angeles even more than I do. And he loves Griffith Observatory even more than I do. And that makes such a difference in all of our lives. And before I begin or go any further, let me introduce to you some of the people who are really behind Griffith Observatory and make it so terrific these days. First, my wonderful husband, Jerry, and you know him. And then, in order, Pat Barrett, Karen Knack, Mark Pine, and Camille Lombardo. Camille is our executive director, and I want you to know something. She does everything wonderfully. She is terrific in every way. But, and I know that you recognize that Griffith Observatory, like the city of Los Angeles, is a great, like City Hall, is a great icon in Los Angeles. You have done the most inspirational job of redoing City Hall. I love coming back here. I love looking at this beautiful building that's sparkling and shining. And I've come back today, and some things are very much the same. I've seen so many longtime friends who have been very warm in welcoming me back. I love coming back into this chamber. The big difference is the seats are reversed, so you're looking out. What's very much the same is all the buzz at the side. Those things haven't changed at all. But the Griffith Observatory now needs the same kind of energy and effort and financing that you put into City Hall to make it this glowing icon for the future. You know, Los Angeles is an incredible city. People love to hate it because they're jealous of it, because they envy all that we have here. And we are now we have these marvelous, wonderful new features in Los Angeles. That incredible cathedral that opened last week, that is so beautiful, and that will bring visitors to Los Angeles to see it, I hope for 500 years, as the Cardinal says. And the Coliseum, Tom says, mention that, which is a wonderful icon in Los Angeles. And soon to open Disney Hall. We hope that Griffith Observatory will reopen in 3 years, in 2005. It's closed right now, so that all these school children, 50,000 school children a year, are being deprived of the experience of looking in the planetarium theater at that gorgeous sky. It turned me on to the sky, and we are, all of us at Griffith know the wonderful stories of people who've lived in Los Angeles all their lives, who came here as school kids, who bring their children and their grandchildren, and you wouldn't believe all the people who got engaged up there at Griffith Observatory, looking out over the city of Los Angeles. I think it's a wonderful romantic place in addition to everything else. So, and I want to extend my appreciation to you for supporting us. You know, The Friends of the Observatory has raised $52 million to the refurbishment, the rehabilitation, the renovation of Griffith Observatory. We have a little ways to go. I appreciate your support in helping us to bring in some state funding to do this so that we can dig ground as quickly as possible. I want you to know that in addition to appreciating all that you're doing for us and the support that you're getting for us, and I hope you appreciate that we've raised this money for you too, I'm going to continue to bug you, to call you, to visit you, to email you, to tell you we need your help right now to get this show on the road, to make it happen in the most efficient and wonderful way possible. So thank you, Tom, and all of you so very, very much for this really, really gorgeous resolution, which I will treasure, and keep looking at Griffith Observatory. You see it, you can't miss it, and recognize what a difference it makes in the lives of all Angelenos.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Joy.
Ms. Hahn.
And also, I want to say to Joy, you said much a great speech. I also want to thank the late, great John Farrar, who's in the heavens, for his starting the foundation for the revitalization. And also thank Dr. Krupp, the greatest public employee who our observatory director is. Thank you.
Ms. Hahn.
Thank you. I just wanted to add my great debt of gratitude to you, Joy, for all you did while you were here. And as Councilwoman Glanter said, you've done so much since you've left. And we want you to know that we're all friends of the observatory.
All right. Hey.
And let me say that I think this is important to note, that this entire city, we have unified and we are speaking with one voice to Governor Davis. And as the state begins to distribute Prop 40 funds, which we all voted for and supported, we are asking that some of that money come back to the observatory. And I must recount one great moment, and you would be so proud of Councilman Labange. There we were at a very solemn event at the cathedral last week. We were invited along with all the dignitaries, Cardinal Roger Mahoney. It was a very solemn event. The governor was sitting on the front row. The governor had to get up and leave early. Councilman Labange leapt over those who were in his row. I mean leapt. Chased the governor out the side door. You saw that. Chased the governor out the side door and made a very great comparison and said, while we're here dedicating our new cathedral, don't forget the cathedral of the observatory. And it was a great moment. And he pleaded personally for the governor to remember the observatory as he distributes the Prop 40 funds. It was a great moment.
Congratulations, Ms. Pikus. Thank you, Mr. Labange. The chair recognizes next Mr. Garcetti for a presentation.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm going to be joined by both council members Weiss and Labange for this presentation. It gives me great joy to be able to, not only in celebrating Latino Heritage Month, come on over, Jimmy, to celebrate somebody who's been heralded not by one but two presidents, most recently President Clinton, who named him Businessman of the Year, Jamie Masada, who is the owner also of a place I'm sure most of you have spent some time chuckling at, the Laugh Factory in Hollywood. Since 1979, when he established the Laugh Factory Comedy Club in Hollywood, California, part of the city of Los Angeles, Jamie Masada has provided comic relief to audiences in the U.S. and worldwide. As I mentioned, he was recognized by 2 U.S. presidents, and he's been honored by countless civic and social organizations. But he nevertheless usually allows others to soak up the spotlight, being somebody who works behind the scenes, being a tireless workaholic, devoted to helping people, be it struggling performers or disadvantaged youth. And I know that we've had the Hollywood YMCA fundraiser, which has been great last year at the Laugh Factory, and we're looking forward to doing that again. He's been recognized as a savvy businessman, and he's also distinguished himself as a rare humanitarian. The first to devote nights to female and Latino comics as well. He has been a long champion of underrepresented groups in entertainment. In 1984, the now famous Latino Comedy Night began, and many of the most famous Latino comedians got their start at the Laugh Factory, including Paul Rodriguez, George Lopez, Carlos Mencia, and Freddie Soto. In 1998, WB Network President Jordan Levin noted, quote, "He's always been ahead of the curve on ethnic comedy, and right now the networks are just starting to play catch-up with him," and we're glad that they are. During that same year, he received the 1998 Key Humanitarian of the Year Award, and this present certificate of appreciation today says, "In recognition of your outstanding support to many well-known Latino comedians in the city of Los Angeles, your creativity and tireless efforts have touched the lives of many throughout the years, and you are truly praiseworthy. Best wishes for continued success." September 13th, 2002. I'm going to present this to you, Mr. Masada, and you can hear from my two colleagues, and then we'll let you say a word as well. Maybe even a joke if we get lucky. Congratulations. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Garcetti. Jamie, I just want to say it's great to have you here. It's great that you're a constituent of the 5th District and that you represent and run an organization that's right on the border between my district and Mr. Labange's district over in the 4th District. Mr. Garcetti said it all, but I think the only thing more eclectic and diverse than the acts that you have headlining at your institution are the crowds that stretch outside your institution on the weekends. It's a terrific testament to you. It's a terrific testament to and representation of Los Angeles. It's a true Los Angeles institution. Congratulations to you.
Thank you. Councilmember Labange, some words about Jaime.
Jaime, I just want to thank you. It's always good to laugh, because if you could remember what Sheriff John used to say, laugh and be happy and your joys will go away. I didn't make anybody laugh, so I got to work on it. But anyway, you were laughing back there. But congratulations. Also, thank you for opening your doors so many times to countless community events to bring together to raise funds for various organizations, including the upcoming in Hollywood Wilshire YMCA. I just want to thank you so much for all you do, and thank Councilman Garcetti and the mayor for bringing you in today.
Thank you.
Jaime.
I just want to thank you, all of you. I'm very honored. Thank you very much. I'll make it brief. Thank you. Again, I'm very honored. Thank you.
Tell us a joke. One joke.
Thank you very much, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Garcetti. The chair recognizes Mr. Zine for a presentation.
Thank you, Mr. President and colleagues. I'm joined by members of the Los Angeles Police Department, the Deputy Chief of Valley Bureau, Chief Ron Bergman, Captain Jim Kanzler, and members of the West Valley Division LAPD Gang Enforcement Detail. Chief Bergman is responsible for all law enforcement operations in the San Fernando Valley, including that of reserve officers, sir. And being a reserve officer, I know what that's like, a good devotion to our community. We're here to acknowledge and recognize the gang enforcement section of the West Valley LAPD's Valley Bureau. I'm just going to give a little information and have Captain Kanzler and representatives from the actual operation explain what they're involved in and why we're acknowledging them today. But a lot of people hear about gang enforcement and they hear about gang activity in the city of Los Angeles. The gang enforcement mission and strategies, criminal street gangs have caused law-abiding people to live in fear of victimization. Those in fear include our young people who find that even attending school can be a risky venture. That fear of victimization is unacceptable in a civilized society, preventing the urban terrorism. So much a part of today's street gang activity is a part of their sworn duty to protect and serve their community. And they have a mission statement: take a leadership role in the reduction of gang crime and violence and improve the quality of life in the community. Reduce the fear and incidence of gang-related crimes. Conduct complete investigations and determine factual information to solve, and when evidence dictates, seek prosecution of gang-related crimes and reduce the number of juveniles involved with gangs. It's interesting that only officers with a demonstrated history of professional conduct can be assigned to gang details in the city of Los Angeles. Gang details must establish and maintain a highly visible police presence in those communities and locations most affected by violent street gangs. Gang details shall regularly monitor city parks, schools, where gang members tend to congregate. And they collect and maintain gang intelligence to anticipate and prevent gang-related crimes from occurring and to identify and apprehend those responsible when crimes occur. Develop and maintain strong and effective working relationship with other branches of the criminal justice system, including prosecutors, probation, and parole officers. Develop and maintain close relationship with community-based organizations, schools, religious institutions, and provide youth programs. This includes regular attendance by gang officers at community meetings where gang prevention, intervention, and apprehension are primary subject of discussion. And they must provide gang awareness training to parents, juveniles, and community organizations, as well as training on gang activities, and tends to patrol, detectives, and other law enforcement agencies. And I know that many of the communities in Los Angeles have an inordinate number of deaths and violence related to gang activity. That's what these officers do every day, 7 days a week throughout the city of Los Angeles. And I'm going to have Captain Kanzler, the captain of the West Valley Division, make some comments, and then we will do some presentations, and we'll also hear from the sergeant in charge of the gang enforcement section. Captain Kanzler.
Before I begin, I'd like to introduce Deputy Chief Ron Bergman, who really is the leader behind the gang enforcement throughout the Bureau. Chief?
I didn't know you wanted to speak. Go ahead, sir. You got it.
That's okay, Dennis. You do remember you are a reserve, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Get a picture of this one.
I want to say two things. One, these people here have done a great job in West Valley and really throughout the valley because we move them around as we need them. And I think they're a perfect example of the job the Los Angeles Police Department does in the San Fernando Valley. Thank you.
Sir, for the LAPD.
The officers behind me have been instrumental in enforcing the Canoga Park, Alabama gang injunction. And as a result of those efforts that they have done, they've reduced gang crime in West Valley 28% compared to last year, this year to date. And the other thing is, just the other day, not only do they focus on gangs, but gang crimes and other crimes committed in the West Valley area. And just as I said, the other day in Reseda, we were getting hit hard. Over 30 commercial burglaries were occurring within 28 days. And these officers deployed on that, and just Friday evening, they arrested that suspect, and we have followed over 40 cases of commercial burglary on that individual. But that, along with the gang injunction, is really led by one person directly, and I'd like now to introduce Sergeant Carl Armelin. Sergeant?
Thank you, Captain Kanzler. As a supervisor of the West Valley Special Enforcement Unit, I would like to thank the following individuals. James McDougall. Are you going to present?
James McDougall, come on up when we mention your name.
Lizbeth Shiner. Todd Hankel. Ray Smith. Robert Ward. Terrell West. Jeff Ingalls.
Get up there, Jeff. Don't be shy.
Pat Marin. Norm Peters.
That's it.
Thank you.
Mr. Reyes. Words from anyone. Todd, get up here for a moment. I know you're a sergeant who was involved in the apprehension of an individual who was arrested and rearrested for graffiti, for vandalism, and not only the gang enforcement activities, but they go above and beyond with the direction of Chief Bergman, Captain Kanzler. They get the support of the West Valley community in not only ridding the community of gang activity, but improving the quality of life when it comes to the graffiti that is generated by the gang members, the taggers, etc., So I want to acknowledge the hard work you folks do every single day out in the West San Fernando Valley, and I know there are thousands of officers throughout the city who duplicate those efforts, and we want to also acknowledge the dedication of the members of the LAPD, all the personnel of the LAPD. We're honoring you today. We also have representatives from the city attorney's office here who are the prosecutors, where the officers generate and you do the prosecution. It's a team effort to improve the quality of life in the San Fernando Valley with the wonderful Los Angeles Police Department.
Mr.
I
Zine,
acknowledge and thank you all.
Mr. Zine, a couple of our colleagues want to say a few words. Mr. Reyes?
Thank you, Council President. I want to thank my colleague, Dennis Zine, for bringing forward the men and women in blue who risk their lives every day to preserve our livelihood and keep our communities safe. The other day I mentioned that we had 367 homicides in the city of LA from January through July, and more than likely a good number of them come from gang activity. So I do know what risk you go through every day in doing your job. But I also know that the city has to help you in finding ways to deal with gang intervention, in the creation of jobs, and creating options for the young people so they don't have to enter gangs. They don't have to fall into that downward spiral. But it is you who put your life at risk. I want to thank you because I know in my communities, the domestic terrorism that you spoke of, Dennis Zine, is very real. And without you, many of our citizens would not feel safe. So I want to thank you for putting your life at risk. You do that day to day, but the city must support you in finding ways to give our kids, our young people, options for jobs, options for recreation, because in the areas of greatest need, we don't have that. So again, thank you so much for your good work.
Ms. Misikowski.
Thank you, Mr. President. I want to echo the comments, but just reinforce the terrific job that you are doing in West Valley. But I also want to acknowledge and give recognition to Chief Bergman, who I think about less than a year ago, I called together all of his divisions, West Valley, Van Nuys, Foothill, Devonshire, and North Hollywood, and said, we're going to come together as a team. And it wasn't only the officers who were in the forefront in it, but he brought together the district attorney's office, the city attorney's office, the parole officers, all of the nonprofit organizations, the community-based organizations which are dealing with this together, and said this is a team effort. We have to work together to solve this problem, to save our communities, to take back our communities. And then each of the divisions under the leadership of their captains and the detectives and the different bureaus went out and said, we're going to do the job. And I really appreciated Councilmember Zine bringing you in today to recognize the work that you're doing, but I recognize that you are here emblematic of all your fellow officers out there, particularly in the Valley, who said this is the issue that we're going to tackle, this is the issue that we're going to solve. And I, for one, am very, very appreciative of the work you're doing there throughout the Valley. Thank you.
Ms. Gruhl.
I just simply want to say thank you as a new council member to the Valley area and how responsive everyone has been, and particularly Chief Bergman, and making sure we addressed so many issues and the gang problems that we have and the street racing and all of that. And just want to add my congratulations and look forward to working with you in the future to address some of the issues in my second council district. So congratulations and thank you for being here. And thank you, Dennis, for arranging this today.
Thank you, Mr. Zine.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have one more presentation. If I can have members of the HEBU Mongolian Demersian School, please join me. Manugian. What did I say? Did I mess it up? Mongolian. Mongolian? Manugian, I'm sorry. I said Mongolian? Well, I'm mixing the cultures. The Armenian school. Manugian, I'm sorry. Now you got me all flustered. Levon, get up here, Levon, get up here. Did I pronounce that right?
What's up? That's good.
Introduce the other guest with us.
Mr. President, members of the council, I have the pleasure to introduce to you a board member of our school, the son of our benefactor, Mr. Yervant Emirjian. I have our vice principal, Dr. Eli Andreasian, and I have our student body president, Tina Khachikian, and our librarian, Armine Mirzakhanian.
Thank you. You get to cut class today to be here, right? I know I was at school opening day, and 958 students and parents there for opening day just a week or so ago at the school. Just a little history, and we are acknowledging AGBU, Manogian Demirjian School this morning. The size of the Armenian community grew in Southern California, and so did the need for Armenian school during the mid-70s. And in 1976, AGBU Life President, Mr. Alex Manogian, entertained the idea of establishing a new school in Southern California. A group of dedicated individuals representing the AGBU community formed a special committee in order to lay the foundations of a new school, with an enrollment of 19 students and 3 teachers on the property of St. Peter Church in Van Nuys. In 1980, student enrollment had increased to 129 and the faculty of 11. And in 1981, the school awarded elementary school diplomas to its first graduating class of 10 students. The following year, student enrollment jumped to 230, and the first junior high class was established. The physical capacity of the school and the church's complex was no longer adequate to accommodate the ever-increasing student population, nor could it meet the curricular requirements of a junior high school. The challenge was met by the rental of a vacant public school facility of the LAUSD located on the far west end of Canoga Park, and the school moved there for the 1982-1983 school year. And enrollment continued to increase, reaching 300 in 1985, and the search for a permanent school facility was initiated, once again enjoying the encouragement of Mr. Alex Manogian. A closed-down public school in Canoga Park with a more central located position was available for sale in early 1986 with a purchase price of $3 million. LAUSD wishes they had that school now. Mr. Alex Manogian added to the momentum by pledging $2 million if the remaining $1 million could be raised locally. The school board and the parent-teachers organization, the community mobilized their energies to achieve this great objective. Finally, the dream came reality. On July 1st, 1986, the 6.3-acre school complex at 6844 Oakdale Avenue formally became clear AGBU property, and the school moved to its permanent campus. And in 1986, the 12th academic year of St. Peter AGBU School opened with 414 students, has a complete elementary through high school educational institution, about to send its first graduates to college. And in 86, the school took a new direction, inspiring new confidence to parents, teachers, and supporters. And in 1987, the Board of Trustees resolved to rename the school AGBU Marie Manogian School in honor of Mr. Manogian's spouse, Mrs. Marie Manogian. Then in 1988-89, because the school had outgrown its classroom capacity, trailer classrooms were rented to accommodate the new sections that were added due to increased enrollment. The expansion was revived. That would utilize a huge playground on the south side of the campus. Mr. Alex Manogian came forth with his support and encouragement. Not only did he pledge additional financial resources, but he also commissioned renowned Detroit architect Mr. Osep Sarf to come up with the most workable and impressive conceptual design possible to fulfill the present and future needs of the school, consisting of separate high school building of 14 classrooms, 2 labs, computer room, multi-purpose room, and 2 faculty rooms, a gymnasium, multi-purpose hall, cafeteria structure, and adequate subterranean and surface parking for 200 cars. And the funds to complete the high school were not available. Mrs. Lewis Simone, who by this time had succeeded her father, Mr. Alex Manogian, as president, realizing the potential the expanded project presented, approved construction of the entire project, the high school building, parking, to be completed in September 1992, gymnasium, cafeteria building to be completed as soon as additional funds were secured, and it goes on with more support, more dollars. And in 1993, the California Department of Social Services licensed the school's pre-kindergarten section as a daycare center. In 1994, the school's library was renovated and expanded, and in 1995, the school's full accreditation from the Western Association of Schools and Colleges was renewed for a full period of 6 years until June 30th, 2001. In 1996, the 20th anniversary of the school established was celebrated. There are currently 16 awards funded by permanent endowments of $5,000 to $20,000 each, and the school is currently planning the expansion of the high school building with 8 additional classrooms to accommodate the rising need of classroom space and focused instruction. The school is the largest Armenian school in population in North America. Among the current 60 seniors, one has a perfect SAT score of 1,600. You, Tina? No, not you. And has been nominated by the President's Scholarship Pool, and 2 others are National Merit Scholars. This year, 2001, marks the silver anniversary of the establishment of the school. And this school is not only a beautiful, well-maintained facility in the West San Fernando Valley, but the school opens its doors, opens its facilities for community activities on a continuing basis. They are good neighbors to the community. The expansion will be taking place shortly. They currently have some classrooms in the basement, and they will be moved out to the proper facilities. And I want to acknowledge the AGBU Monogian Demirjian School for all you have done for the Armenian community, for students, for the discipline, for the instruction, for the success, and what you do to help beautify the West San Fernando Valley, that beautiful campus on Oakdale and Van Owen in the West San Fernando Valley. So I'm going to give the microphone to you for a few words. We have a presentation for you, for the school. And one thing we just did at the opening of the school season is award a $1,000 scholarship to a high school senior who's going to be entering college next year. So we're very supportive of the activities at the school. We'll continue to support, and we continue the partnership with you, the campus, the parents, the administration. You are wonderful people, a very, very wonderful place in our city of Los Angeles, West San Fernando Valley. Thank you very, very much. You have some words to say? Thank you. You want to say something?
Mr. President, members of the City Council, Mr. Zine, it is with great pleasure and honor that we accept this certificate of appreciation. We do this in the name of the 958 students, 638 families, and 103 faculty and staff of the AGBU Monogian Demirjian School. Our school, the second largest Armenian school in the United States, in North America, was established in Van Nuys in 1976 with 16 students. And today we are proud to inform that we have achieved most of what we have dreamed, what our founders have dreamed, and we continue to strive for higher academic excellence. We are a WASC accredited college prep school. We offer 9 advanced placement courses in the high school, and our students achieve great results in their SAT tests. 100% of our graduates continue their higher education in distinguished universities, including Caltech, UC Berkeley, UCLA, USC, UC Irvine, etc. When the school purchased its current property in Winnetka in 1984, we promised to become a community center serving the entire community. We are here to reaffirm this promise and inform you that it is a pleasure to provide our facilities to many community activities and meetings. We pride ourselves on the fact that we have the privilege to educate young Americans of Armenian heritage on how to best appreciate the values and the mission of this great nation of ours. Thank you again for the honor you have bestowed upon us.
On behalf of the students at DHS High School, AGBU Monogian Demirjian School, I'd like to thank you for this great honor today. And thanks for your support.
You're welcome. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Zine. Congratulations on the recognition. Members, I do believe this concludes presentations for today's meeting. Madam Clerk, next order of business, please.
Approval of the minutes.
Ms. Misikowski moves, Ms. Gruhl seconds,
Commendatory resolutions for approval.
Mr. Holden moves, and Mr. Reyes seconds.
On the regular agenda, Mr. President, there are several commissioners to confirm. Items 1 through 5 are confirmation of appointments to the LA Convention and Exhibition Center Authority.
If those 5 commission nominees can step forward at this time. Guards, I ask for your help in securing 2 additional seats for the commission nominees.
And a public hearing has been held in committee on this item.
Members, items 1 through 5 are now before us. Public hearings haven't been held in committee. I will now turn to members of the council wishing to ask questions or make comments on the confirmation of these 5 commissioners. Members wishing to be heard, Mr. Garcetti.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just briefly, we had these commissioners before us in the Economic Development Employment Committee. I think we have a chair coming over right here. So, The committee unanimously recommended approval. We've got a great, diverse group of individuals who understand, I think, the challenges that are faced by the city, among other things, in our convention center, making sure that we have that business, people who bring a real background and knowledge of what some of the issues are with the convention center hotel proposal, as well as making sure that we market the city better. So I urge you all to join with the Economic Development Employment Committee for unanimous backing of them today. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Garcetti. Other members wishing to be heard? Mr. Reyes.
I just want to thank the commissioners to be for all the great work. We're going to need your help. We have very challenging times in trying to balance out all the needs that are right now impacting our economy, our city, our quality of life. So we will need your strength and the diverse background that you do bring to the table, and I just want to thank you for all your good work. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Reyes. Other members? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please open the roll on confirmation. Please close the roll and tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
Congratulations, you are all confirmed. Thank you for serving the city. Forthwith, please. Next item.
Next item, Mr. President, item number 6 is also a confirmation of Madeline Janice Aparicio to the Board of CRA Commissioners, and the mayor has submitted a new letter to correct a clerical error. She is replacing a vacancy created by the resignation of Javier Lopez Ortiz.
That correction is technical in nature?
Yes, it is.
Okay, item number 6 now before us. Members, once again, public hearing having been held in committee. Is Ms. Janice Aparicio with us? If she can come forward at this time. Members wishing to be heard on item number 6, beginning with Ms. Perry.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. And as you know, I sit on the committee with Mr. Garcetti and Mr. Pacheco, and have had a number of discussions with Ms. Janice Aparicio, and I've expressed to her my utmost respect for the nearly lifelong commitment to community activism and her commitment to her values and her ideals, and truly respect her. And I had raised a number of concerns in committee and shared with her before our meeting today that I just wanted to highlight them today, as I expect her nomination will pass. And I want to express my awareness or acknowledgement that Lane has withdrawn from the Figueroa Coalition because of, well, not because of what I said, I'm sure, but because we had a discussion about the lawsuit filed by the Figueroa Coalition against the new redevelopment plan, which our city council approved not too long ago. That was extremely important to me because it enables us, many of us, the nonprofits, the social service providers, to avail ourselves of the tax increment dollars to build more housing, not just market rate, but housing for people who are homeless with special needs, which is a very high priority for me. And I had a great discussion with her about her judiciousness in discussing the concept of an additional community impact report with respect to development. And it appears that in most cases we are in agreement on goals and objectives, but may choose different paths to achieve those goals and objectives. And I don't have a need to ask any further questions today, Madeline, but I did want to, as I shared with you before, that I wanted to highlight these concerns for the record, my concern about the potential for extending a living wage to business improvement districts and passing that on to tenants, because it's so critical to stimulate economic development, not only in the northern part of the district, but in the southern part as well. Thank you.
Mr. Garcetti.
Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, first let me share with you that the Economic Development Employment Committee did recommend the nomination of Ms. Madeline Janice Aparicio for the CRA board. Personally, I'm very pleased with this nomination from the mayor. I think it is, as I've mentioned to the board before, one of the most dynamic CRA boards that we've had, and this is the final piece. To me, we now have a board which really represents all of Los Angeles. It represents all the views in Los Angeles, and it represents an intellectual level in which the give and take of ideas, I think, really will push the agency to uncharted territory in the most positive sense of that phrase. Personally, I'm very pleased too because of the work Ms. Janice Aparicio has done in Los Angeles, really pushing our thinking and engaging in a very human way. And as I said in committee, this is something which is great not only for those advocates for economic and social justice, but for our economic developers here in Los Angeles. Lane puts together that picture so that in the past, the old model of developers bringing forward a project, the community, throwing its arms up, and then a fight going on for sometimes years at a time. We now come in with common expectations. Lane is that most critical bridge between communities and developers, always pro-development, but making sure it's the right sort of development. And your leadership with that organization, though you've had activities outside of that organization to, I think, position you to help developers by making things transparent and making sure that that time equals money formula is minimized and that people really can come in. That's why we've had the NoHo project that went through so smoothly in this council. That is why we all voted unanimously for the second phase of the Staples Center, and I hope that we will all vote unanimously today to support Ms. Janice Aparicio. I know there was a legal concern that was raised by Ms. Perry. That has been certainly answered not only by the actions that you took, but that the Figueroa Corridor Coalition wasn't even party to that lawsuit. And the more general concerns that I think, Ms. Perry, that you had about whether or not there would be conflicts and whether people benefit from their membership on CRA board, that's really all of our commissioners. We want people who are not coming down from the moon, who haven't had any experience at all in Los Angeles. So all commissioners and all of our board members do bring a wealth of experiences, and we embrace that. We have a CRA board that includes developers, that includes businessmen, that includes people who come from labor, and now community advocate. And I know that this will go through today. You have my fullest support, and I urge all the council members to take a step forward for jobs and economic development today by approving this unanimously. Thank you.
Mr. Pacheco.
Mr. President and colleagues, I think one of the conversations that we had in committee, which had absolutely nothing to do with the nominee, Madeline Janice Aparicio, because as Eric has pointed out, there's a lot of us on the council who respect and support Madeline and the work she's doing. But at the same time, there are some of us who have been here a little bit, and I really say a little bit compared to some of our colleagues, and we have seen that we have redevelopment issues and programs and projects come through the council, and one of the big issues that was discussed in committee, which I will highlight today because I need the full council to be aware of this, is that there's many of us in the inner city, and I'm only going to speak for myself today because I know other colleagues may want to speak for themselves, but who really would like the same package and the same agreements that were done with the developers at the Highland and Hollywood project, because we feel that that project had the most latitude and the most flexibility when it came to creating and revitalizing that area. We would like the same terms and conditions. We sense those who represent, or at least myself, who represents the inner city, that there seems to be a new rigidity coming from the CRA, and we just wanted to put on the record in committee that, and today I want to put on the record, that I expect the same treatment that Hollywood received in that redevelopment project. We simply want to make sure that the same flexibility that was extended to that part of the city be extended to us on the east side, and we definitely want to take advantage of all the tools that the CRA affords us. Having said that and highlight that conversation in committee, I just simply want to tell you that I have had many conversations in the 3 years with Madeline Janice Aparicio, and she understands where I'm coming from on these issues. She is going to do her best to look at this issue seriously. I understand that she has certain ideas and philosophies that we all know are a part of the dialogue and debate on all of our redevelopment projects, and I welcome the opportunity to have her on the board. I think she'll do a good job for the City of Los Angeles.
Mr. Reyes.
Thank you, Council President. Colleagues, back in the early 90s, I had the privilege of working with Ms. Aparicio, then one of the leaders, I believe, the Executive Director of Caresen. And at that point, that board and that organization had a whole group of individuals who today are leaders of many other groups. And at that time, when we were engaging Pico Union Westlake, we needed to be creative. I believe the issues we hit then are hitting us now in the city, throughout the city. Back then, we had to think vertically. We had to mix use commercial with housing. The Crescent Center, we were contemplating office with residential and using some of the units for transitional to help people who are homeless, more specifically families and single parents who we found were destitute and didn't have anywhere else to go. So Crescent took on that role, took on those challenges, and the city engaged as a partner with them back then. So today in CRA, we need to think creatively. We need to look at how we change our use of space, leverage economic development resources, understand the power of the private sector, and leverage public funds. That is our challenge. How do we make that happen? And how do we distribute the wealth evenly so that the resources that come back and regenerated with these new projects truly affect those that they were intended to impact in a positive way. So, Madeline, I'm glad you're here. I'm hoping we can work together. Back then, it was a microcosm, I believe, of what we see now citywide, and we need to be more aggressive in making sure people understand that we're not anti-business, we're not anti-profit. What we are talking about is sharing the wealth so that everyone rises evenly in a balanced manner, and we are treating people as humans. Thank you so much for your great work.
Ms. Hahn.
Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, I rise in support of your confirmation on what I agree is probably one of the best CRA boards that I can remember really in the history of Los Angeles. I think it's a dynamic board of commissioners. I think you are already thinking out of the box in terms of how we want to redevelop our neighborhoods and our communities. But the reason I like your appointment is because, Madeline, you are involved in these issues. But most of the time, you get involved at the end. But make it clear, you get involved. And I like the fact that you're now going to be involved on the front end of these issues and the way we do economic development and the way we redevelop our communities. So I think it's a better idea that you're here in the front helping to shape what we do as a city versus always sort of at the end, really then working aggressively to either stop a bad decision that we've made or working in that way. I like it that you're here, and I think that that's important that you're at the front end of how we make our decisions in the city of Los Angeles. So I think it's a good appointment.
We don't make bad decisions.
Mr. Zine.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and colleagues. Morning. I met you for the first time this morning, and there was some buzzing about you, as I'm sure you're aware. My concern, and I've been a critic of the CRA when I see things going down the wrong track, and I look at the commission and say they have to be in tune to reality of what's occurring. I heard mention of the Hollywood Highland project, and there's been some great controversy regarding the parking and reducing the rate, etc. I know your heart's in the right place. I know the commission's heart's in the right place, but unfortunately, oftentimes, it doesn't play out as we want it to play out. And I look at this beautiful city and the San Fernando Valley where I represent and say we've run out of space. We've run out of land. We can't take any more fields and build commercial, build residents. They can do that in Riverside, San Bernardino, where they're building 71,000 homes in dairy farmland. And we can do that out in Highway 14 and Highway 5 in Santa Clarita, and the Newhall Ranch and the Tejon Ranch. And eventually there'll be residents and business stretching from San Pedro to Sacramento, and we'll have nothing but gridlock on our highways. I look at CRA to invigorate an area, to take an area that's in decay and bring it back, because we can't continue to expand anymore in this city since there's no more open space. And I look at the criticism that I've brought forward to say, We vote for something, and the next day I read in the paper they're going to build an NFL stadium, which isn't really going to serve the needs of the community. My encouragement to you, my words to you, is that be focused on what we need for the city, and I know that there's different factions that fight, but it's good for the people, it's good for the city, it's good for the valley, it's good for all of us. I don't know you except I met today. You have a pleasant smile. You have people who are supporting you. You have people who are questioning. I'm going to put my trust and my faith and hope that you'll be able to be leader on the CRA and not be hoodwinked by some of the people who want to hoodwink the CRA Commission. But we have good projects. We have projects that are worthy of development. We can create those jobs, create that positive economy in the city of Los Angeles. And just briefly, your relationship with the other CRA board members, do you find that being a compatible fit? Do you know any of them that are currently on that board?
I have met virtually all of them in the last couple of weeks. I think it's going to be a great fit. I think there's a real diversity of ideas, but there's a lot of interest in being a team. And that's what I'm interested in being a team and thinking of new ideas, but also working together and working with you to make it really the Community Redevelopment Agency, which is its name, and to be thinking, for the best for everybody. So I'm excited about the...
And if we spend less on consultants and more on projects, it'll probably be a wonderful thing for all. And also, don't forget, there's an area over Mulholland Drive called the San Fernando Valley. We need to continue the NoHo project and the projects in the western region of the San Fernando Valley and the Van Nuys area. Those areas also need that. So please keep that on the radar scope. And I wish you well in the challenging tasks you're going to have ahead.
Councilman, I don't know if you know that I grew up in the San Fernando Valley. In fact, Councilmember Gould and I actually went to junior high school together. So I will always keep that in mind.
What school was that?
Robert Frost.
Robert Frost Junior High.
Thank you, Mr. Zahn.
You didn't go to Franklin Junior High like Tom LeBon? Franklin High?
Thank you,
not
Mr.
Marshall. Okay, thank you.
Ms. Gruhl.
Thank you.
Frost Junior High is about 2 blocks from my home, in the 12th district, not in the 2nd.
I went to elementary school, junior high, and high school in the 12th district, believe it or not. Yes, and you were not to say anything else other than we just went to junior high together. Okay. Your vote for me depends on that, right? Okay. Anyways, I want to echo some of the things that Councilmember Zine said and the importance, those of us in the San Fernando Valley, interested in looking at redevelopment and ways we can work together. And they haven't always been smooth in the valley. And so I think that there is now a recognition of the interest and to begin to do that and to balance as you become a commissioner, the balance of helping redevelopment and also the rights of workers and combining that. And I think, as Janice Hahn said, that oftentimes you all are involved at the end of the project, and now that many of the developers are bringing you in at the beginning of the projects in your other life other than being on the CRA. So I think we anticipate your balanced approach and your many years of experience to add to that. And we are going to, people who went to Frost Junior High can do a good job. Look forward to it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Weiss.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just want to note something else. A lot of folks have talked about your many years of experience as an advocate, as a policy person, as a policy visionary. What I would like to focus on is the fact that you're not only going to be creating and crafting policy when you serve on the CRA, you're also exercising oversight. You're exercising oversight over public funds, over public contracts, and in a sense over this myriad, this really complex mosaic of private sector enterprises, of developers, of contractors, of labor contracts. But really, that's almost beside the point. I mean, it's a huge job, and oversight is needed. And I see your new colleague back there, the chair of the CRA, nodding his head in agreement. Oversight is needed at all of our public entities in Los Angeles. Today, more than ever, when we have parts of the city that, or at least some people in parts of the city that think they want to split up, it's more important than ever that we be tight with our dollars. And I think your background as a lawyer and your background as a sophisticated lawyer, both at a sophisticated law school and in other sophisticated areas of law, is going to give you the ability to do something which we haven't talked about this morning, but which I think ultimately is going to take up at least 50%, if not more, of your time on the board, which is oversight over public monies and bringing your background and expertise as a lawyer to bear on the complex issues that are going to come before the CRA. So in addition to what everyone else has said, I think that's a particular ability that you're going to bring to the board, which is going to be very, very beneficial, and I wish you the best.
Thank you.
Ms. Galantri.
Hello.
Hi.
Members of the council, I want to say I think that this is the mayor's smartest appointment yet. And I am really looking forward to having Madeline on the CRA because I probably have worked with you as long as anybody else here. And I know from my own experience, I started out as an advocate, then I got appointed to the Coastal Commission, and lo and behold, I had a different job to do. And Madeline is certainly smart enough to know what her job is, and I think the CRA needs her very badly. This is an opportunity for the city and for the CRA to move beyond merely following along in somewhat haphazard fashion. Often on good projects and often with good ideas, but the CRA has not really been out in front in the way that it should be in a number of years now. And I think that your participation with the rest of the people on the commission will, I hope, spark the agency to be more creative, to be able to move faster, to be able to move more effectively, and to enlist more of the people who stand to benefit from successful redevelopment in designing the redevelopment in the first place. One thing that John Ferraro used to tell me, that now that I was a council member, I was an expert in everything. But the fact is that there are so many things that council members have to deal with that by and large, compared to other people out there, we're not experts really in anything. And we really depend on people who actually know what it's like to be on both sides of an environmental issue or a development issue, and they're frequently the same issue. To design the projects, make the projects include what they need to include right from the beginning so that everybody will know what's going to work, and you don't have a lot of people fighting each other, but instead we can fight the common enemy, which is we don't have enough housing, we don't have enough economic development, we need more jobs, we need more housing, and we need more better quality of life, and I just think it's great, and I look forward to voting for you soon, and I look forward to having you on the agency and working with you to take care of business.
Thank you.
Mr. Brinson.
Yes, I'm happy to see you being appointed, particularly since you grew up in the 12th District and attended Frost. But also, I know you're very qualified.
Thank you.
Let me just, in spite of all you hear from all these members who are telling you got to do this over here and that over there, CRA's job is to fight blight. Economic development is another category altogether. Obviously, you want economic development areas that are blighted, but one of the tenets of establishing a redevelopment area is the establishment and making the findings of blight. So I know you're going to do a great job. We'll be happy to work with you, and a pleasure. Thank you for serving.
Thank you.
Mr. Garcetti.
I just neglected to do one thing. I know there are quite a few folks that are here also in support of Ms. Janice Aparicio. If you please just stand up so the council can see your presence here. And we thank you for being very patient in this meeting. And lots of times people bring their family. The mayor's office is standing up right there. We got Miguel Contreras, the head of the County Federation of Labor, and a lot of advocates. We've got people from the CRA board popping up left and right. So just want to thank you all very much. You can be seated now. Thank you.
Mr. Holden.
All right. You live in my district. You've been there about 16 years, and just a moment ago you were saying the streets are clean, the trees are trimmed, it's a nice place to stay, and that you've always been there. Now, one thing is certain about Nate Holden is that when I'm at your back, you have support, and your word means everything. Today, if you ask me, I would say you're crossing the line. You're known as an advocate, now you're going to join the system. That's inherent conflict, in my view. Now, and the reason why I say that, not too long ago, there was a noodle factory in CD9, small company, and you opposed the support that we're providing for that project that had been underway before your organization got started. And we had to support Ms. Perry because she was advocating support for the project, which would provide jobs, etc. And you opposed that. Could you tell us why?
Sure, I would like to respond to that, Councilman.
Right.
Thank you. That was
President, would you hold my
Wing Hang-
time? Mr. President, thank you. Would you hold my time? Okay, go ahead.
There's a noodle factory downtown called Wing Hang. Many of you were here. This is the last day of the last council session. The living wage, they were receiving industrial development bonds, and the living wage was applied to them as a condition of receiving the industrial development bonds. We were actually not involved in that process of applying the living wage. Later on, it was brought to the council's attention that living wage was not being appropriately applied to Wing Hang, and there was that debate. We actually had gone out and spoken to some of the workers there and were concerned about some of the working conditions and brought that to the attention of the council, and ultimately was resolved not to apply living wage, but I think there was a really good discussion that came out of that about when, what should be the trigger for industrial development bonds to bring in living wage. We certainly did not oppose that project at all. We were just trying to have a consistent policy in terms of living wage.
I thought you were saying that day we should vote against what was being requested for that project, which means it would kill the project, number one. Number two is that, that's what I'm saying, it's going to be an internal conflict. We have a business team, mayor's business team, trying to support certain projects, and you're going to find that, like in Mr. Garcetti's district, where Ms. Goldberg did not require that they pay living wages, and yet she was an advocate for living wages. Now, you sitting on the CRA board, that's a conflict. Would you be required to vote for that or vote against it? My question on my time, what do you think your vote would have been, given your commitment on that project?
On the Trizacon project?
Yeah. See, the same thing, living wages, still.
Trizacon or the Wing Hang project?
Both of them.
Well, I have actually never opposed a development project. I've always, in every case, you can talk about the project in NoHo, the project in Councilman Padilla's district, Sunquest.
President, would you just hold my time there, because I got more comments.
The Staples project. In every single case, I have come here and spoken in support and worked really, really hard to get a lot of community and unions to be part of a project to make the project better. We actually have very good relationships with many developers, and I think that the best approach, and I would continue this from a slightly different perspective as a commissioner, is to make development as good as possible. But I am pro-development, and I would continue to be pro-development, and I assume that I would be voting yes on, all the good projects that were becoming in front of me.
You'd be voting against them?
I'd be voting yes. I would be voting for.
Well, let's just say that I'm socially conscious, and I would be in favor of, personally, social justice. I'm in favor of living wages. And if I sat on that committee and it was not provided in that development project, personally, I would vote no. Now, that's why I asked you about the internal conflict. I mean, I respect you if you stick to your guns.
I think that the value of a citizen commission system is that you have all kinds of people that have different views on things. So you have business people that are opposed to living wages, you have nonprofits who believe in affordable housing, and we bring our expertise, our past, our experience to the discussion and the debate on issues that come before us. So yes, I would bring my views, but I think that that would enrich the discussion. And I'm certainly a very reasonable consensus-building type of person, and would not just willy-nilly take a position on anything without working with everyone else.
All right, well, you'll be called upon to make some tough decisions, and sometimes you might be asked to go against your better judgment or your conscience, but that's what you've stood for over the years, and you're going to have to bite that bullet. I would say to you that otherwise you'd be viewed as not being business friendly. They're going to throw all kind of accusations at you, but you have to stand up. And this one issue or one commission you can't be wishy-washy on, because you got about 14, 15 council persons pulling and shoving you on their positions, and you'll find that what they say in council is not what they say in their offices as it relates to development and improving business climate in their own communities, in their own districts. It's altogether different. You crossed the line, and I think they're going to hold you to it. I just wanted to put it all on the table.
Thank you, Mr. Holden.
Thank you.
Mr. Garcetti. Mr. Garcetti passes. Other members wishing to be heard? I believe we've heard from just about everybody. Seeing none, before we vote, let me just add my comments in support of Madeline. You're going to be a great fit, as you said, to the commission, providing a different perspective, a unique perspective, but an intelligent and thoughtful one. Nonetheless, I have been asked, as many people have read, I'm sure, what my thoughts were on your appointment. And I know you're smart enough to know development, but you're also have a heart that brings a social equity consideration and element to job creation and economic development and stimulation of business. It's much needed in the city, and it's much needed in the future of our city and our country. And I have all the confidence in the world that you're going to do a great job.
Thank you.
Madam Clerk, please open the roll. Please close the roll and tabulate the vote.
15 ayes.
It's a unanimous vote. Forthwith, please. Next item.
Next item, Mr. President, item number 7 is confirmation of Ms. Helene Smukler to the LA Homeless Services Authority.
Okay. Members of the council, we have another commission nominee and at least one more commission nominee on the agenda still today. As Ms. Smukler comes forward, once again, members, consideration of this commission nominee having been heard in committee, satisfying the public hearing. Are there members wishing to be heard on item number 7? Mr. Garcetti.
Sure, Ms. Gruhl would as chair of the committee, would echo this as well. We just had this today. I just want to thank you for your patience, because you've sat through this entire meeting just to have your reconfirmation done. So I hope that we can dispose of it, and you've been a real leader in LASA and will continue to be. So thank you. And I know the entire committee unanimously passed your renomination.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Garcetti. Other members? Seeing Mr. Labange.
Mr. President, members of council, I want to thank you for this very important role that you will serve, but also your great expertise from your years of service for the SCAG, the Southern California Association of Governments. As a resident of the 4th District, just west of Hollywood, sometimes you see the challenges of our urban area, and I think your expertise will be a great enhancement for this authority. And I want you to come back to us too and keep us informed about the much needed energy and time and focus that we need to make on this issue of homelessness and trying to help people who have severe challenges all beyond their capabilities, that we could try to find ways to help them. Thank you for you and your commitment to serving on this very important authority. Thank you, Helene.
Thank you.
Mr. Burnson.
Yes, I've known Helene for a number of years, and I think we're very fortunate to have her be willing to serve. So, Helene, thank you again. She's extremely capable, and I think she's a credit to our commission system to be there. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman.
Thank you, Mr. Burnson. Other members wishing to be heard? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please open the roll. Please close the roll and tabulate the vote.
15 ayes.
Congratulations, you're approved. Madam Clerk, please send this matter forthwith. Mr. Labange.
Mr. President, members of council, I have here a student from the University of Southern California, Derek Cutler. He was in Senator David Roberti's class last night. He works across the street in the district attorney's office. He came over on his lunch break. He said he loves old historic buildings, and I wanted him to come and see our building close hand and sit in the 4th Council District seat. Please welcome Derek Cutler, USC.
Welcome to council chambers. Madam Clerk, next item, please.
Next item, Mr. President, item number 15 is confirmation of the reappointment of Ms. Rita Walters to the Board of Library Commissioners. Arts, Health, and Humanities Committee waived the consideration of this matter.
Ms. Walters, welcome back. Mr. Weiss.
As chair of the committee, I just wanted to formally welcome Ms. Walters here. As we just discussed a few moments ago, you are perfect for this. You're going to do a wonderful job. I want to just, on behalf of everybody here, extend the warmest of welcomes to you. Wish you all the best. And since we waived you out of committee, I'd like to formally move the appointment, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Weiss. Before recognizing the next speaker, let me also add that I do not have members of the public wishing to be heard on this item. Therefore, the public hearing is satisfied. Mr. Labange.
Mr. President, members of council, I worked with Rita Walters when she was on the school board. I worked with her on the city council. I'm honored to be her council person. She lives in the 4th District, but also I'm honored to know her as a friend and know that she'll be a great advocate for all of Los Angeles, and especially those who find their way to some of the greatest sanctuaries in the city, and that is the 67 or 68, is it now, public libraries throughout the city of Los Angeles. I want to thank you for what you have done in the past and what you do in the present and what you're going to do in the future, Rita. You truly have contributed greatly and will be a great addition and continued addition in this reappointment to our Board of Library Commissioners. Thank you very, very much.
Ms. Gruhl.
Thank you very much. I just, similarly, it's wonderful to have had Joy Pikus and Rita Walters here today. Similarly, a wonderful mentor that I've known actually since you served on the school board. And so pleased that you're willing to come back and give your time, and we're very lucky to have you to serve on the Library Commission. So thank you so much for willingness, and look forward to working with you on this.
And thank you very much, Wendy.
Mr. Rudy Thomas.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members of the council, we take this opportunity to acknowledge Rita D. Walters as an advocate of literacy and has been for a very, very long period of time. Now distinguished by having an institution of learning named in her honor, worthy for that reason, and still continuing to promote the quality of life for all Angelenos through the refinement of the mind and exposure to literature and technology as our public library systems afford us. And so it's wholly appropriate that she serve this city in this capacity, because she is able, and if you were to appreciate the idiom of the tradition out of which I come, she is well able. I commend her highly.
Thank you very much, Mark.
Ms. Mizikowski.
Thank you, Mr. President. Rita, I see that this is a reappointment, so I imagine you've been to a few of the commission meetings already, and I'd like to give you the opportunity to share with us the perspective, the issues that have come up, and the things that you're now working on or looking forward to working on a reappointment, just to give us a little update on the Library Commission from the meetings that you have been able to attend.
Well, thank you very much, Cindy. It's always great to have an opportunity to talk about the library. I consider the library the jewel in the crown of Los Angeles, and it continues to grow. The building is moving, of new branches and replacing old branches, is moving ahead quite rapidly, and it continues to be on budget, on time, and we're very proud of that. There is a necessity to always have funds to replace collections and to have funds to update collections that are there. There's a move now to provide tutors for youngsters after school, for computer tutors to help people, youngsters, and anyone who comes in the library. Our libraries are online and are being well utilized. We do want to be certain that in the loss that's in the state budget that is not clear to the full extent of what that's going to be, but that we don't lose that in the aggregate, that we can make that up, and that in the coming years, as funds tighten up, that we really do not cut back on service hours. As you know, I was a real advocate for Sunday hours and extending service hours at the local branches. So we're moving forward, and I'm just very proud to be a part of the library. It's an extremely well-managed institution, and it's full of people who really care about it and care about all of the people in Los Angeles, and I'm really honored to become a part of it.
Thank you for those comments, and I know I don't need to say that you've got 15 friends of the library here around the chamber, but your advocacy, your support, your capability of contacting each or any one of us to bring us up to date on what is going on, what needs to be done, if more, from the council side, whether it's through the budget period process or any other time, that we feel like we have one of our own on the commission to help create that link and that advocacy for, always making the system the best that it can be, whether it's developing the buildings or bringing programs to our constituencies throughout the city. So I, for one, am also very appreciative of your being willing to serve and being there to be an important link with us as well.
Thank you very, very much. And thanks to all of you for your support, and I hope vote today.
Well, we're not done yet. Ms. Galanter.
Okay.
That's Rita. I'm Ruth. I have 3 friendly faces in one day. I am delighted to add my support, but I did want to comment that it's nice to have 3 friendly faces in one day. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're willing to do this. I think that your continued service to the city after you left the council is a tribute to your dedication, and I just want to thank you for it. The library is so important. As you know, I hope that we will change the name of the Central Library back to the Los Angeles Central Library. I think that ought to go on your agenda. It is the Los Angeles Library and ought to be known as such. And as I mentioned to you earlier, there was a policy proposed by Mayor Reardon when he was the mayor that nobody living could have a library named after them unless they gave at least $1 million. And I noticed that policy got shifted around a little bit later in his administration. I think it was a bad policy to begin with, but it may still be on the books, in which case there's something for you to think about. But the libraries are really important to everybody in the city, and I know that you, as a former school board member as well as a former council member, are very conscious of that fact, and I am thrilled to have you as one of its principal stewards.
Thank you very much, Ms. Galander. I appreciate those remarks.
Mr. Zine.
Thank you, Mr. President, colleagues. Good morning, or good afternoon, I should say. I know that you were here just a few months ago for this appointment, and in the short time you've been on the commission, libraries are popping up all over the city. You've done it actually extremely well, because in the 3rd District, we've got libraries blossoming everywhere, and I know that that is desperately what we need, not only in the Valley, but throughout the entire city. And your experience, your dedication to the city, your love for the city, obviously you serve well in that capacity, and you serve well in this council for the many years you were here, and also as a teacher with the school board, etc. So you got my support, but I want to acknowledge that your few months on that commission has really made wonderful impact, because I'm seeing from my constituents accolades of things are going very, very quickly in building these projects and getting them underway. I don't know how long this next term is, but by the time we come up, we'll have libraries established in place, the computers online, and wonderful resource for the members of the City of Los Angeles, the community, the constituents of the city. So congratulations, and your mission has been carried out extremely well.
Thank you.
Other members wishing to be heard? Seeing none, now we're ready for a vote. Madam Clerk, please open the roll. Please close the roll and tabulate the vote.
13 ayes.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much to each and every one of you. And you too. Thank you.
Let's send that matter forthwith as well. Madam Clerk, next item, please.
Item 16 is a confirmation of reappointment of Mr. Anthony Sinacropi to the Employee Relations Board, and I believe that the appointee is not available to be in council today.
Okay, public hearing having not been held requires us to hold one here. I do not have speaker cards on this item. We shall deem the public hearing open and closed. Members, item 16 is now before us. Members wishing to be heard.
16?
Mr. Holden.
This is, could you cover 14 yet?
No, we're on item 16, Mr. Holden.
All right, thank you.
Did you wish to be heard?
No problem.
Seeing no other members wishing to be heard, Madam Clerk, please open the roll, please close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
That is approved. We'll send that matter forthwith as well. Next item.
Next item, Mr. President, items for which public hearings have been held, items 8 through 14, items 11, 12, and 13 were in Housing and Community Development Committee this morning, and motions have been distributed to adopt the recommendations on those items.
Okay, items 8 through 14 now before us. Public hearings haven't been held in committee. A motion from the floor would be required to reopen the public hearings. Seeing none, members wishing to call any specials? 8 through 14?
14 special.
14 is called special by Mr. Holden. Any other specials? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please open the roll, please close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Mr. President, I'd like to ask if 11, 12, and 13 can go forthwith to the mayor, please.
Forthwith on 11, 12, and 13. Next item, please.
Next item, Mr. President, items for which public hearings have not been held, items 17 through 28.
17 through 28 now before us. Public hearings having not been held requires us to hold the public hearings here. Seeing no speaker cards on these items, we shall deem the public hearing satisfied. Members wishing to call any specials?
Thank you. Mr. President, item number 27, there's a request from the city engineer to receive and file that matter inasmuch as it has been superseded by item number 28.
Okay, that shall be the recommendation on item 27. Ms. Misikowski?
Some confusion. I would like to recommend that 27 and 28 both be adopted. They seem to be overlapping and not totally consistent. They're consistent, they just have two different territories, so let's adopt both of them.
Okay, so we have a motion to approve item 27 as it appears in the report. Other specials? Mr. Holden?
Clarification.
Which item?
20.
Item 20, called special by Mr. Holden. Any other specials? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please open the roll on the balance of the items. Please close the roll and tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Those are approved. Next item, please.
Next item, Mr. President, is the closed session. Item number 29, do you wish to hold that on the desk?
I believe item 29 and 33 are closed session items. Let's hold those on the desk.
Item number 30 is an item for which public hearing has been held.
Members wishing to call item 30 special? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please open the roll, please close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
That is approved. Next item.
Next item, Mr. President, on the continuation page, item number 31 is an item for, an item notice for public hearing, and there is an amending motion that has been distributed.
I have no request from members of the public to address the council on this matter. We shall deem the public hearing open and closed. Members wishing to call this item special? Seeing none, Ms. Hahn.
You didn't cover 32 yet, did you? All right.
No.
Fine. All right.
Please pay attention, Mr. Holden.
I am. I said, but you're up to 33, so I'm thinking.
No, we're on 31.
Ms. Hahn, you have the floor.
Thank you. I just wanted to make sure everybody realized that I had introduced 31A as an amending motion to this item. It's just a technical clarification regarding one of the adjacent properties, so I would just ask for an aye vote.
Has item 31A been distributed, Madam Clerk?
Yes, it has.
Okay, so we're acting on, without objection, item 31 as amended. Please open the roll, please close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
That is approved. Next item, please.
Next item, Mr. President, item number 32, item for which public hearing has been held.
Members wishing to call item 32 special?
Mr. President, I want to call item 32 special. It appears on the call special items are 29 and 33, and 33 is after 32, and that's why I looked in the call for special.
Item 33 is a closed session item,
I
Mr.
thought,
Holden.
well, I thought you had jumped
Item
over it.
32, called special by Mr. Holden. Madam Clerk, next item, please.
Next item, Mr. President, going back to the items called special, item number 14 was called special by Councilmember Holden.
Before we take this matter up, I know we do have a special meeting agenda, one item that we may be able to dispense with relatively quickly. I'd ask the clerk to temporarily recess the regular meeting agenda, and please call the roll on the special meeting.
Brinson, Galanter, Garcetti, Gruel, Han, Holden, Labange, Miskowski, Pacheco, Perry, Reyes, with Thomas, Weisstein, Padilla, 12 members present, and a quorum, Mr. President.
Thank you very much. We have the special meeting now before us. Madam Clerk, first item.
The first item, the item on the agenda is Economic Development EDE Committee report, and it's receiving and filing a mayor's reappointment inasmuch as the appointee has declined the reappointment.
Okay, members wishing to be heard on this item? Seeing none, please open the roll, please close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
12 aye.
Okay, that satisfies that matter. Let us now adjourn the special meeting and return to the regular meeting agenda. Items called special.
Mr. President, may I ask that we have a reconsideration from an item on our last agenda, item 77S. There's a special event motion, and there's a substitute, if we can get reconsideration, to make some technical corrections.
This is from Tuesday's agenda?
Tuesday's agenda.
Item 77 from last Tuesday's agenda.
77S.
Madam Clerk, please open the roll on reconsideration. Please close the roll and tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
That matter now back before us. Ms. Miskowski.
The motion 77S substitute is on the desk. I would like to move that as a substitute for the matter.
Further discussion? Questions, comments? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please open the roll. Please close the roll and tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Okay, that substitute motion is approved. Next item, please.
Mr. President, going back to the items called special, item number 14 was called special by Councilmember Holden.
Mr. Holden.
Mr. President, members, I'm interested in 14, 3, 4, and 6. Mr. Kosh, would you explain those three items and why we took no position?
Item 3, we have a recommendation of no position on that. It's to have a zip code uniquely in Diamond Bar. In the past, when we have taken a position on zip codes, it's been the City of LA making an appeal to the Postal Service.
Right.
In this case, I don't think it's really relevant in the League of California Cities for the whole league to be taking up the cause of a zip code in one city alone.
It would not overlay affect us at all, is what you're saying?
Oh, no, sir.
All right, now 4.
Now, item 4 is a policy matter for the council to take up. It is a resolution which would, instead of changing term limits, which are you have so many terms that you can serve in the Assembly and the Senate, it would advocate a change in the Constitution to increase the number of years that an Assembly person or a senator would serve. The number of the terms would remain the same, but the number of years each term would be expanded.
Isn't that a 2 4-year terms for the Assembly? That
Yes,
would
sir.
increase?
Yes, sir. And it would increase the state Senate.
So that'd be more, instead of 3 terms, 3 2-year terms, it'll be 2 4-year terms, equivalent to the Senate as it is today, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
All right, so why you took no position?
Well, it was originally my recommendation. It was a policy matter for the council to decide. There's no previous particular city interest in this. Perhaps you would like to move one way or the other on it?
Mr. President, members, I'm not even in favor of this recommendation. I think that the last budget hearings in Sacramento has clearly indicated to the people of the state of California that seniority is worth something, if not more than saving times and dollars, that it really will cause the taxpayers to have to pay. I think we made a real mistake by imposing term limits and holding to it. I would, if I were going to support something, I'd say abolish term limits altogether. We can ask that, but I don't know how you guys feel about it. But I must tell you, having served in the California legislature and understand why it's so necessary that you have members who have a historical memory about what goes on there, not just the lobbyists and not just the bureaucrats. And staff people that we're losing, where staff people now serve about 3 years, used to be 14 to 16 years, and all that institutional memory is being lost. The state of California is suffering because of it. And the true message should get to the voters of this city, for those who care about, of this state, for those who care about the state and that is well managed, should come to understand and realize that what they've done here with these term limits is something that we can no longer support. I'm in favor of abolishing term limits. I don't know where my colleagues are on that today. So if they're not in favor of that, then we'll take no position on this change in the Constitution as it relates to the number of terms for the Assembly. That's the only change that's being recommended. When it gets to the league should debate that issue. I would add that as a footnote. Debate no term limits at all, and why they want to adhere to 2 term limits for the Assembly and two terms for the Senate Assembly, equivalent to 2 terms for the Senate, rather than abolishing it altogether. I think that should be a healthy debate, and give the reasons why the state has suffered in more ways from leadership because of term limits. I would offer that as an amendment, Madam Chair.
All right, we have an amendment on that matter. The chair recognizes Councilmember Hahn.
I agree with what you just said. My only concern is I was under the impression there was an initiative that was going to be placed before the voters that limited state legislators altogether to 12 years, either in the Assembly or in the Senate. That's the one I've heard circulating. So again, it seems to me it's premature to take a position like this if there indeed is another initiative coming before the voters extending their term to 12 years on either side of the House. That's what I've understood. So I agree. I think this is a premature recommendation by the League, and I would like to see us not support that.
Well, you offered the League, asked the League to debate the 12 years. Right. That's what we're talking about.
I think I'm on the resolutions. No, not anymore. They kicked me off. Okay, well then.
All right, we have no one else who wishes to speak at this point. Madam Clerk, we have a motion before us.
Yes, it's Mr. Holden's motion to recommend a debate of the League of California Cities on the term limits issue.
That there be debate. Okay, the chair recognizes Councilmember Padilla.
Point of clarification, Ms. Hahn was not kicked off of the Resolutions Committee. It was offered to her. She had respectfully declined.
That's true, I did.
All right, we have the motion, we have the matter before us as amended by Mr. Hahn to have the League debate the issue on the term limit matter. Yes, Mr. Holden.
Right. So, and the next one, this is a series of positions, it's 14-6.
Okay, the chair recognizes Mr. Holden again.
No, I never gave her my time.
Well, your time had expired, and I called Ms. Hahn. Now I will call you again. Chair recognizes Mr. Holden.
Good.
Resolution number 6 before the League of Cities is a resolution proposed by the City of Malibu. It is to urge the support of local control of coastal matters, urging the Coastal Commission to protect local control by deferring to its elected officials with respect to choices in the implementation of the state's coastal policies.
Madam President, members, this is the way it was before we adopted the Coastal Commission, before the Coastal Commission was created, where the city of LA was responsible for what it did, and all the other cities that were adjacent to the coast responsible for its planning and development jurisdiction. They want to be exempted from the Coastal Commission?
No, sir.
Well, explain it to me again, so I don't.
All it is saying is that the Coastal Commission should give deference to local officials in their local coastal plan, which would be consistent with positions that the city has taken before. We do not have a local coastal plan approved by the Coastal Commission ourselves, nor does Malibu. Yes, there is some controversy in Malibu, which was in the newspaper this morning.
Why can't we have our own plan then, coastal plan?
Pardon me?
Why can't we have our own plan?
We have submitted certified partial local coastal plans which have defined what can be done in the way of development along the coast within the city of Los Angeles. We have not done a total LCP
Why not?
for the city. I don't know.
All right.
Well, let them do what they want to do. If the Coastal Commission sign off on it, fine. But we should look at it.
There was special legislation directed at Malibu in the year 2000, which said that the Coastal Commission shall draw up its own LCP for Malibu, and unless Malibu does its own by September 15th, 2002, which is Sunday. However, they have written the resolution such that other cities could support it.
All right. Members, we have the committee report before us with the amendment on the one item from Councilmember Holden. If no one else wishes to speak, Madam Clerk, please open the roll with the amendment included. Close the roll. Tabulate the vote.
10 ayes.
That matter is approved and can be sent on to the League of Cities. Thank you. Next item.
Item number 20, called special by Councilmember Holden.
The chair recognizes Mr. Holden.
Madam President, members, we have this report as it relates to the collecting crime data. And maybe
Mr. Holden, I think that's the other item. That's
32.
We're on item 20 now, which you called special for a question.
Oh, the MOU, all right. Mr. President, members, on the holiday, yeah, I want an explanation on that and what it really means in terms of Christopher Columbus holiday that we had or used to have that's coming up. And maybe somebody can explain that to us as it relates to this report.
Is there anyone present from the staff on item 20? If not...
It says that we might lose a half a day on Christmas Eve.
Mr. Holden, apparently there is someone from the staff who... they're calling staff. We can either hold this on the desk or continue it. But
all right, we'll go to the next one.
I might just mention, Madam Chair, this is consistent with the other items that have come through. There was the half a day before Christmas was taken away, and both Cesar Chavez and Columbus Day were approved. And that's with the other contracts. This is the same.
This is a contract, and does that mean that we have Christopher Columbus holiday coming up this year?
I believe we do. I'm not sure about that, but I believe we do.
Is it being granted to the employees?
Yes.
This
is consistent.
I know that.
This is consistent with the policy that the council has previously enacted.
I'm just asking for Cesar Chavez. That was a holiday that we committed to, and that's done. It was suggested that it be in lieu of the Christopher Columbus holiday. Now, will we celebrate Christopher Columbus holiday this year? Yes or no?
I believe so.
You're not sure?
No.
The staff is on the way down, I understand.
Right, thank you. So you can hold it.
All right, we will hold this item till staff arrives. Let's call the next item.
Next item is item number 32, called special by Councilmember Holden.
Right. Madam President, this deals with Consolidated Crime Analysis Database, and we held it up for a couple of weeks, and the department is coming forward to give us some information on that about the serious crime, critical crimes, and from the inception of the crime to the conclusion of the investigation of the crime, et cetera, and what that means in terms of the recommendations of the study.
Okay, Troy Hart, Director of Systems and Commanding Officer, Information Resources Division, Los Angeles Police Department. I'm not sure what the issues are at this point in time. The audit came up with 3 items that we should address. One of those was that we weren't doing 100% audit on all of the reports that went into the CCAD system. A second was that we should evaluate the entire CCAD system to see whether or not it was meeting the requirements of the police department in general. And a third request was that we look at the codes that go into the system because some of them are outdated. The items 1, the first one that I mentioned, we've already done. We took a look at the data that we put into the system. We did an audit beginning of
the data that you put into the system.
We go into the we put into the system. And
data entry is what you're talking about.
The data entry and the audits that we do.
But don't you enter all serious crimes and is considered to be data?
Every crime that is reported within the city of Los Angeles goes into the CCAD system.
Well, then
but we weren't doing 100% audit prior to the audit that was done by the city clerk of all of the.
And your audit was to determine whether or not all the crimes were put into the system.
Determine whether or not the data that went into the system relative to a particular crime was correct.
Oh, okay.
So now, after evaluating the data that was in the system, we determined that about 15 to 25% of the data had errors in it.
What's the consequences of having an error? What's the problem there?
The way the system works, the crime report is taken out in a particular geographic area. The data is entered into the CCAD system by the record clerks at that particular area off of the crime report. Once they enter the data into it, they have to do particular coding in order to represent the information that's on the crime report. Sometimes the coding is incorrect. And we were doing an audit on only the high crime issues to make sure that they were correctly entered into the system. But the audit was done by the city clerk was determined that there were some low crimes that we didn't audit within my division that were going into the system with errors.
So the statistics that you provide for the council members and the press based on the kind of crimes that are being committed may not have been accurate because they were not accurately coded.
No, that's not correct because the high crimes that we went in and did a complete 100% audit on were those that we produced crime stats from. Those that did not produce crime stats, that didn't go to the California State Bureau of Department of Statistics, we didn't audit those. And those were the ones that we were finding errors in. And now, Councilman, I would like to mention that we did correct that situation. We're doing 100% audit of every crime report that goes into the CCAD.
The next item. The next one.
The next one was to do an evaluation to determine whether or not the CCAD system was in fact meeting the requirements of the police department and doing what it was designed to do. We're doing that in conjunction with the consent decree project that we're currently going on within the police department.
That deal with racial profiling is also?
And that will include the racial profiling issues, yes. Mm-hmm.
So your equipment is sophisticated enough to catalog all the data?
In terms of racial profiling, it's sort of a different issue. Right now, we have an RFP out on the street, and we have responses in from.
So you're not doing that as we speak?
No, we're doing that as we speak. Yes, we are. We're evaluating the responses from vendors for a system to do racial profiling. We're collecting data, and I prefer to call it anti-racial profiling as opposed to racial profiling because we're looking at data to make sure that we're not doing racial profiling within the department. We're collecting that data, putting it into a database system right now. We're doing it manually in that the officers are using a form that we've created to write the data into. We're going to do it electronically in that we're purchasing
They have
PDAs.
these little things in their handheld, they've inputted?
That's what we're purchasing. That's what the RFP
That's what
was
you're
for.
buying right now?
Yes, that we're purchasing right now. Mm-hmm. So we're going to make it more sophisticated, but we're currently collecting the data.
The equipment that you're using, state-of-the-art, is it state-of-the-art where it's all up to date or is it antiquated?
Currently, it's not state-of-the-art. Currently, we're using paper forms, and we fill out the paper forms, and we scan those forms and scan the data into the database.
So what you're going to need, Madam Chair, is your committee, you can do it. I don't have to tell you what to do. You know what to do, and that is you're going to need to provide some funds or ask the police department to provide for you or us, council, up-to-date state-of-the-art equipment in order to be able to, give us the information, upon request quickly, and to make sure that it's accurate, which we're not sure that it is.
Yes, and we have put some requests in through the budgetary process in order to get funding for software tools so we can look at the data and evaluate the kind of data that we're collecting.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. I just thought that should be made a part of the record. That's why I raised the question. Call the question.
Thank you, Mr. Holden. The chair recognizes Councilmember Zine. Excuse
Sir,
me?
before you depart, sir, whoa, we're not done yet.
Sorry, Council.
Thank you.
Sure.
At the Public Safety Committee, the issue on the forms that are completed by the officers in the field have been debated, and there's been some problems with capturing information and the monitor and the audits, et cetera. Is your entity involved with the CAO, the CLA? Because I haven't seen you, or maybe a representative of your section comes to the Public Safety Committee, but I've seen problems evolving in this process where they're still doing paper forms, the initial contractor wasn't delivering the product as scheduled, some problems with the technology, this and that. Meanwhile, the officers haven't received whatever device they've been promised, and I know that the time runs, and as we get monitor reports on the consent decree, we're not really complying with all those issues. Can you comment on what your section does in that and what needs to be done? Because there, at least to me, doesn't appear to be a connection to make it effective and to satisfy the needs and concerns of the federal monitor on this consent decree.
Yes, sir. In terms of collecting data for profiling, there are two entities that are involved. My division was responsible for the technology of collecting the data, putting it into a database, and providing the capability to extract information from that data. And then there's the operational entity, which is Management Services Division, who is responsible for looking at how the data is collected, what data is collected, and making sure operationally that the officers go in and correct errors in the data and so forth. So the two entities are involved. We meet, my division and the Management Services Division, to discuss the operational, how it, as it affects the technical, and the technical as it affects the operational. The meetings that are attended, that you mentioned, Councilman, are attended by the operational unit because that's where the problems exist in terms of how the data is used and how they process the data.
But they get the data from you?
Absolutely.
And you get it from the outside contractor?
We get it from the officers. The officers fill out the forms. The forms come into my division. We process the forms to make sure that they're complete. We send them to the vendor who does the scanning of the data. Once the data is scanned, they send it back to us in an electronic form. We hand it over to our information technology agency that loads it into the database. And once the data is resident in the database, we have programs that run against the data to check for the accuracy of the data. And where we find errors, we provide that error information to the geographic areas so that individual officers can go in and correct that data.
Okay, because there's been some serious problems with collecting accurate data.
Absolutely.
And I know that we're making improvements, but not to the satisfaction of the monitor.
Part of the problems have been with the scanning entity that we were using. We're using U.S. data to do the scanning, and we were experiencing about 25 to 30% error in just the scanning. We've since changed to Scantron, and the data is coming in much cleaner, less errors. I think right now it's around 10%.
And I think our allowable rate is 5%?
Yes. And we're trying to get it down to that point.
And then how long do you anticipate before we go online with some handheld device?
We're in the process of evaluating the bids that have come in. We're about 2-3 weeks away from making, no, I take that back, about a month away from making the decision on the vendor. And once we make a decision on what vendor we're going to use, then we'll go into the process of purchasing the handheld devices and deploying them out into the field. So we're looking at somewhere around the first quarter of next year.
And will those devices be deployed out of your section?
Yes.
And how many do you anticipate purchasing?
The initial purchase is for 2,000.
Okay.
And once we put them out, also, we just recently received a federal grant from CompsMore to do an auto site system. That's the automated process using handhelds in order to collect traffic citation data. What I'm trying to do is marry those two together so we can use the purchase of the handhelds for anti-racial profiling to facilitate the traffic data collection.
Are you
using the same devices?
Mr. Zine, your time has expired.
Okay. If you can meet with me later.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you. There is no one else wishing to speak, so item 32 is now before us, as recommended the committee report. Open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
10 ayes.
That matter is approved. Madam Clerk, what is remaining on the list?
Item number 20, I believe staff is here now on that item.
All right, if we have staff come forward. Mr. Holden had some questions. Mr. Holden?
John Ferraro would want me to ask this question. Will we observe Christopher Columbus' birthday this year?
For the employees who received the Cesar Chavez holiday this year, they will not observe it, but for the employees who did not, they will receive the Columbus Day holiday. So we still have a mixed practice for this year. Starting next year, we hope to have everybody on the same holiday schedule.
And what will be the holiday schedule next year?
Next year, employees will receive both Columbus Day and Cesar Chavez, and the half day before Christmas will be eliminated.
For the record, it will be eliminated. They'll still go home a half a day.
Correct.
Okay.
Thank you. The chair recognizes
We needed to know that.
The chair recognizes Councilmember Labange.
Thank you, Madam President. Every day, we should recognize whatever the holiday is, whether we have to work or not. And but the important thing is that there is holidays significant. Sometimes we get a break from work, but celebrate the holidays. And I think we've resolved this problem for 2003. And thank you very much for all the work that you do. And I just want to say thank you. And I know that John's looking down now, smiling at you, Nate. Thank you.
Thank you. Item 20 is before us. Members, please open the roll. Close the roll. Tabulate the vote.
10 ayes.
That matter is approved.
Madam President, not on the agenda, there are two specials. Special one is a motion presented by Councilmember Holden and seconded by Councilmember Garcetti, and the city attorney will explain the need for the findings.
Thank you. This has to do with SB 1970 by Romero, which would prohibit any person or generator from burying, throwing away, or disposing of radioactive waste in landfills within the state except as specified licensed facilities. It's my understanding that it's just been determined that that this is on the governor's desk, and the governor has indicated that he may veto this, and therefore Mr. Holden is asking that the council ask him not to, that he sign it, and therefore the council need to make the findings that the need to act arose after the posting of the agenda and that there's an immediate need to act.
All right, you've heard the findings recited by the city attorney. Members, just on the question of suspending the rules and considering this, please open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
10 ayes.
That matter is now before us. The chair recognizes Mr. Holden.
Mr. President, members, this council emphatically came out in support of this legislation, which would prevent radio-contaminated material from being dumped at our dump sites like Bradley, landfill, and others. Sunshine Canyon, too. We're basically concerned about our water table, and that it's been proven to be unsafe and unhealthy in the long term. All of the environmental groups have come out against this dumping of this radioactive material, solid waste, at these landfills. And we went through the legislative process. It's a tough fight in the Assembly and in the Senate, and now it's on the governor's desk. And we understand that those who have been dumping the radioactive material at these landfills want to continue to do so. And they're putting pressure on the governor to veto the legislation, which is unthinkable at this point in time that any sensible or reasonable person, let alone some business, would prevail on the governor to veto this very needed and worthwhile legislation to protect the health, safety, and welfare of our citizens. So, Madam President, members, I can't think of any legislation that's more important to us at this time than to urge the governor to do what's right for the people of the state of California and to sign this legislation into law.
Thank you, Mr. Holden. The chair recognizes Councilmember Burnson.
All I can say is if he vetoes this, shame on him. write in Holden for governor.
Thank you. Members, the special one is now before us, requesting the governor not to veto. Open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
10 ayes.
That matter is approved. Let's send that forthwith so we can get that letter out to the mayor and to the governor. Next item.
Special 2, Madam President. This is a motion by Mr. Garcetti. It appears that the Hollywood courthouse, he's just found out that there's a possibility as soon as Monday that they will be taking the criminal cases away from being heard in the Hollywood courthouse. He's asking that the council adopt a formal position that they not do so. Council needs to make the findings that the need to act arose after the posting of agenda, and there's an immediate need to act.
All right. Please open the rules on the suspending the rules. Open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
10 ayes.
That matter is now approved to be before us. Mr. Garcetti?
Just very briefly, contrary to Mr. Bernstein's good recommendation, I want to thank Councilmember Labange and Councilmember Weiss for those folks that are watching on television and live in the Hollywood area. 20 years ago, a little bit more of 20 years ago, Hollywood was one of the leading communities to fight for those community-based courts. Right now, we just learned that there is the threat that all of our local criminal cases would be moved downtown for the neighborhood prosecutor program, for our coordination that we had even before the neighborhood prosecutor program in Hollywood of allowing police to work alongside our prosecutors and having a courthouse. This would be a devastating blow to the Hollywood community. I also advise council members to look at their own community courts where there's been talk of doing this outside in other places like the harbor as well, but we urge your support today. Thank you.
Thank you. The chair recognizes Councilmember Zine.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And do we have staff here to answer any questions, or do you have it, Mr. Garcia? Do you have, or is there a reason why they want to move, why they want to close that? Because when I worked Hollywood many years ago, it was an urgency that we brought that in. It did tremendous impact to relieve the congestion, the chaos, and help reduce crime, and the judges were very sensitive to that. So I'm curious as to why they want to cut these very successful courts from the districts, from the communities.
Well, it is a little befuddling, but to answer your question, as I understand things, there was a report commissioned by the courts because they get all their funding now from the state. It used to be half state, half county. The budget difficulties at the state, they're looking for ways to cut costs, and this is one of the things that's being recommended apparently. I think it would be very penny wise, pound foolish, because as you know, kicking officers to go all the way downtown to testify instead of where they're at costs us all money, and it's really balancing the budget on the backs of the municipalities. As I understand, it's because they commissioned a report and it's recommending that's one way to cut costs.
So the bottom line is dollars from the state to fund the programs.
Yeah,
and if we don't have sufficient court space now in the Metro Court, then we're going to have to lease buildings to put the judges in a court so they can hear a case. So it doesn't make a lot of sense.
And we wouldn't have the jail in Hollywood that we used and stuff. So.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. The chair recognizes Councilmember Labange.
Thank you. Just real quick here on this. I would also want to ask, too, and I strongly support this here, that our CLA 2 next week could give us a report on all these things affecting the county, because this is not only in the healthcare system, but in the court system, et cetera, et cetera. It's extremely important. So I wanted to just stand to rise to say the importance of these neighborhood courts and ask that we all support it. Thank you.
Thank you. Seeing no one else wishing to speak, the special 2 is now before us. Please open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
10 ayes.
That matter is approved. We will also send that forthwith. Madam Clerk? We managed that already.
This is the time for comments from the public on items not on council's agenda.
Members, it is now time for public comment. We have one card on non-agenda items. Let me also ask at the same time, we have one card submitted on item 29, which we will discuss in closed session. So let me call first in the public comment, Phyllis Doherty.
Thank you. Phyllis Doherty with Animal Issues Movement and also a new organization called Animal Welfare Law. I've come to share with you an event that we're having in the end of October that affects law enforcement, neighborhood prosecution units, and the animal community in general as far as crime in illegal animal fighting. The Humane Society of the United States is joining us, Los Angeles County Animal Control, and this is being sponsored by Los Angeles Police Department, Los Angeles Sheriff's Department, and the Los Angeles Animal Services Department. We'll be presenting an 8-hour course for law enforcement for 2 days on illegal animal fighting and all the various aspects of the crime. This is not just regarding animals. The crimes that surround illegal animal fighting are very sophisticated, very barbaric, dope, prostitution, very heavy gambling, and this is a very, very lucrative form of crime. If you have anyone in your offices, we will not be announcing this publicly or sending out public brochures on it because it is for law enforcement and prosecution, but if any of you have people in your offices, on your staff, or connected with your offices that would you like to have attend, we'd be very, very pleased to have them.
Thank you, Ms. Doherty. Let me now call Anne Marie Weiss, who submitted a card on item 29, the closed session.
Good afternoon, Madam Chairperson, members of council. I understand this is a closed session item. I just wanted the council to be aware that the Chatsworth Land Preservation Association, the people in Chatsworth, and the residents of the San Fernando Valley still feel that this development, which is the subject of item number 29, is not an appropriate mix for this location in the valley. We hope that the city will follow what Judge Janis has ruled, set aside the general plan amendment and the zone change, and follow the wishes of your constituents in the San Fernando Valley. We hope you will not appeal the decision, but will do what the judge has asked and ordered. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Weiss. That concludes the public comment or any other cards that we received today on these items. So the public comment period is now closed. Madam Clerk?
Madam President, do you wish to clear the desk before going into closed session?
Let's do that.
Council has motions for posting and referral.
Those are posted.
Council also has excuses on the desk. Councilmember Garcetti requests to be excused Tuesday, September 24th, to arrive at 10:30 for city business that meets council policy.
Councilman Garcetti is excused.
Councilmember Galanter requests to be excused Wednesday, September 18th, Wednesday, September 25th, and Friday, September 27th. Those are all for city business. A motion is required on September 25th and 27th.
Councilmember Pacheco moves. Councilmember Garcetti seconds. That motion is approved.
That clears the desk for closed session.
All right. We can please prepare the chambers for closed session. Anyone who is not involved in the closed session items, please leave the chamber.
I have to meet the mayor.
All right. Chair recognizes Mr. Branson.
Session. As a protective measure in the event the writ is not reversed on appeal, I move the planning department to commence the reprocessing of the project with appropriate project modifications, including the appropriate CEQA analysis which would comply with the writ. In remanding the project to the planning department, I move the planning department expedite its processing consistent with city rules so the city can be prepared to comply promptly with the writ in the event the Court of Appeals affirms the writ. I would so move.
Okay. Mr. Branson has a motion before us. Please open the roll. Close the roll. Tabulate the vote.
10 ayes.
I believe there's one more matter.
Yes, item number 33, settlement in the case of James Main Warning versus the City of Los Angeles, and that's in the amount of $97,500.
All right, that is the motion. Please open the roll. Close the roll. Tabulate the vote.
10 ayes.
That matter is also approved forthwith.
And that clears the desk, Madam President.
All right, the desk is now cleared. Are there any announcements? Excuse me, Mr. Chair, recognize Mr. Pacheco.
Madam President, colleagues, as we know, we started celebrating Latino Heritage Month today, and we all received our little booklets. I just wanted to make a correction on one of the events. The Candela's Unity event that was originally scheduled for September 14th is now on Saturday, September 28th. This involves Candela's Guitar Company, which last year after September 11th, they made a Unity guitar, which was basically cost about $8,000 if you wanted to buy it. It's going to be raffled that day. There's going to be also motley and entertainment the whole day. That's a commemoration of not only September 11th, but also as part of Latino Heritage Month. But that's been moved from the 14th to the 28th, right there on Cesar Chavez between Mott and Evergreen. And for Mr. Bertson, that would be on Brooklyn Avenue between Mott and Evergreen, in case you
Thank you,
find
Mr.
your way
Pacheco.
around the old neighborhood.
Ms. Hahn for an announcement.
Yes, I just wanted to let all those who love chocolate in the city of Los Angeles that we are, as part of our Foreign Film Festival down at the historic Warner Grand Theater in San Pedro, we are showing the film Like Water for Chocolate. Like, is that the name of it? Like Water for Chocolate. Like chocolate for water. What's the name? Like Water for Chocolate. We're showing that film in San Pedro Saturday night, this Saturday night, 7:30. Come for a reception beforehand of all sorts of good chocolate things, and then stay for a great film in the beautiful Warner Grand Theater down in San Pedro.
Thank you. Chair recognizes Mr. Labange for an announcement.
Yeah, thank you very much. This weekend there's several activities and great films to see, and I wanted to ask my great colleague Eric Garcetti to take off on the great festival that surrounds the 4th and 13th.
Silver Lake Film Festival, which is underway right now throughout places in Silver Lake, but also at the Vista Theater, the Great Vista Theater in the Great 4th Council District, and that'll be going on through the entire weekend, and we invite people to Silver Lake Film Festival.
Don't forget the sunflower and the...
A place where there's original films still, real local original films, and see a movie and help the economy. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Design for an announcement.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just want to remind our parents that this Saturday at Taft High School at Winnetka and Ventura between 9 and 1, the LAPD, my office, and the CHP will be coordinating a child safety seat checkup. Parents are welcome to come by and have that inspected by the law enforcement individuals. That's Taft High School, 9 to 1, Winnetka and Ventura Boulevard. For all you parents with the little children who are required by law to be in the child safety seat, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Zine. It's now time to have the adjourning motions. Would everyone please rise for adjourning motions? And the chair recognizes Councilmember Brinson.
Yes, first I'd ask that we adjourn in memory of Libero Dizzinho, who was 94 years old. He's survived by his grandson, Dominique Dizzinho. Next, many of you, somebody around here may remember Don Cunningham.
Oh, yes.
Don Cunningham passed away on August 17th. His father was Stephen Cunningham, former councilman of West Los Angeles, previously worked on zoning cases, development of properties. He was one of the leading lobbyists at his time in the city. He's survived by his sons Pat and Jeff and a daughter Madeline. And I'd also like to adjourn in memory of Minette Sellner. He's the mother to Dr. Alan and Mark Sellners from Encino, who are podiatrists there. She was 90 years old.
Thank you. The chair recognizes Councilmember Holden.
Madam President, members, I'd like to defer to Mr. Tom Labange for an adjournment motion.
Thank you, Mr. Olin. You're handing it off, if I could use that. I'm asking we stand and rise and adjourn in memory of Johnny Unitas, one of the greatest football players in this country. I was a young child, and it was Johnny Unitas, number 19 for the Baltimore Colts, who always led his team. And my mentor, who many of you met, Milt Davis, who spoke at my swearing-in ceremony, played with Johnny Unitas and said the ability of Johnny Unitas was not that he had this golden arm or could pass the ball for miles, but the ability to get in a huddle and move his team down the field and to look straight at it. He had an impressive history. He played sandlot football when the National Football League was just starting out, and then got picked up by the Pittsburgh Steelers, and ultimately got signed by the Baltimore Colts. He led them to 3 World Championship games, including what they say was the greatest game ever played in 1958 against the New York Giants. where Tom Matty scored in overtime to win in that ball game. But he truly was an inspiration for young people and young kids. And I also remember as a child when the Colts came out to play the Los Angeles Rams, going over to City College on Vermont and watching the great big Baltimore Colts. This is in the late 60s, practice at City College on Vermont Avenue, and there was Johnny Unitas, a man bigger than life, who truly was an inspiration. He lived it to the fullest. He died as a member of the Baltimore Ravens, Director of Community Relations at 69 years old, and he truly was the greatest Johnny Unitas.
Thank you, Mr. Labange. I would like to be a co-presenter on the Don Cunningham tribute. Members, Don Cunningham was a longtime lobbyist in the city, a land use advocate, but he also transcended that. As a member of the Brentwood community, he was active in his own homeowners association. He was president of the homeowners association and brought out the talent and skill that he had and knowledge as a land use representative to the homeowner community. He also had been appointed by Councilmember Browdy to work on specific plans in the early heyday of specific plans for the community, and he was one of those wonderful people who transcended lobbying and community and brought it together with those same attributes and skills, servicing both. And we often would have homeowners come in opposing him, but always saying how much they liked the man himself as opposed to some of the projects he might have represented. And I think shortly, within the few weeks, we will be bringing in a special tribute, recognize Cunningham and Associates, the firm that is being carried on now in the third generation tradition of advocacy and land use specialties, started by Stephen Cunningham, who was long ago the council member of the 11th Council District, who Don was his son. So I'd like to...
Just prove somebody's been here as long as me, see?
Yes, Chair, Mr. Holden.
I think that should be all members. Don transcended, as you know, the lobbying and also public service work as well. And the great guy, as you already stated, and so maybe all members. And
okay.
Then, of course, we have to think about Joe Namath.
He's still alive.
Johnny Unitas.
Oh, Namath is still alive.
He beat. No, Joe Namath was the guy with the Jets.
Right.
When they had this great team, and of course, Johnny U took it like a man.
Right.
Thank you. All right, Madam Clerk, please call the roll. Thank you. Council is adjourned.